Is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stotts Norsworthy.
Good Wednesday afternoon on this February 24th, 2021, as we make our way through the last week of the shortest month. Hallelujah, especially compared to what it was like a week ago. Easy 65 to 70 degrees warmer than it was a week ago. Thank goodness all the snow starting to, it's all gone, and thank goodness that it has. We welcome you in. Drew is out this week. He'll be back with us next week. Dave is out today. Of course, he's handling the duties tonight on the Tigers radio network. So with me from now until 6 o'clock, Gabe Kuhn, big number 71 with us today, and glad to have him. You've heard him the last 2 hours with John Harden. You're not tired, are you? You're not talked out, are you, Gabe?
Absolutely not.
I knew you wouldn't be. On a day that the Dow Jones approaching to cross the 32,000 mark. 32,000. Wow, that is something. Up over 400 points today. Close to 32,000 for the Dow. Again, the temperature much higher this week. The water situation we're still working on. I think tomorrow it will finally be rectified citywide for everyone. I know that has been quite an issue for a lot of people. And the Tigers back at playing tonight. So, Gabe, I told you before we came on, very newsy day. It really is every day. I can't stand people. And it's really kind of summertime. Sometimes you would get this with some, not many, but with some, well, what are we going to talk about today? There's nothing going on. There's always something going on. Use your brain. And there's a lot going on today.
Absolutely. A lot of crossover from a lot of sports, and it's just a good thing. And obviously we still have some of the blowback from the Tiger Woods news yesterday, some updates that we're going to have to get to. No shortage of news today.
I think you knew through my text yesterday with you and in our conversation during the break, I was really fearful. I think a lot. I'm not.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people were this way, but I was really fearful that was going to go the horrible wrong way. It didn't. Amen. Hallelujah. We're all thankful for it. But for Tiger Woods, today, it starts the rest of his life, and it's going to be a battle, the physical battle, the immediacy of surgery, warding off infection, blood clot. I mean, all the things that with that many battered and broken bones, with the compound fracture. We know what that means. We know that means the Alex Smith type injury, the Joe Theismann type injury, the really on the ugly end. And so, he's got the immediacy of that over the next weeks and months, long hospital stays, a lot of physical therapy, a lot of things go through. And then this, Gabe, the emotional toll, and never mind that 5 times surgically repaired back that yesterday could not have been good for. I mean, there's just no way that many rollovers. Did I see that it maybe rolled 700 feet? Did you see that?
Am I correct in that? I saw that. I don't know if it was 700 feet exactly, but somewhere around there.
Okay, I maybe it was 7D, but even if it was 7D, that's almost the length of a basketball court. But anyway, I mean that couldn't have been good for a really terrible back that he talked about on Sunday afternoon that wasn't responding well, and then the emotional toll that at some point will set in when he sees that wreckage, when he realizes, when he's out of the heavily sedated state that he is in, just how lucky he is to be alive and to hug his children again.
Absolutely. The mind state, and I can't even put myself in that position, just
me either.
Being in
I've never been that close.
In that position in a sideways car with these multiple injuries and relying on everyone else to be able to save your life, a crash that could have been potentially completely fatal, and just trying to deal with that emotionally. I can't imagine the hurt and the anguish that he's going to have to deal with going forward here for the next year, 2, 3, probably the rest of his life.
I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I've been fortunate enough many times to be at tournaments, majors, U.S. Opens, PGAs, Masters. I don't think I've ever seen him did I see him in a tour championship? Anyway, I've seen him a lot of times. And, Gabe, I've said on these airwaves that if he's playing golf and I'm there, I'm practically stalking him. If he pops out of the clubhouse to go to the practice range, I'm going to the practice range. If he goes to the practice green, I go to the practice green. If he goes to 1 or 10, I go to 1. Wherever he is, and if I'm there, I have made a point to position myself where I can see him. And it is a big star on a big stage. And we're going to visit at 4 o'clock today with Tom Ackerman from KMOX Sports. And I don't think it was even maybe bigger than winning that 15th at Augusta, and I was fortunate enough to be there for that. But Tiger at Bellerive at the 2018 PGA. Brooks Koepka got his name on the Wanamaker Trophy. Tiger Woods won that weekend. The people of the Midwest, they came far and wide to see Tiger Woods.
People of the Midwest, the North, the South, the Southwest, the Southeast, wherever he goes on a golf course will be followed by thousands and thousands of people, and just what he has done for the sport of golf and growing popularity. It just can't even be stated enough. And just also just the foil in his character and all he's gone through and how much people sort of sympathize and relate to him on so many levels. It's just been
some angry.
Absolutely. Some still angry to this day, but I think a lot of people just see, obviously we talk about it all the time, athletes being seen as larger than life, but when all of these things come through and all of the human elements of the Tiger Woods story, of Tiger Woods in general came out, I think
he was Superman.
It absolutely just endeared a lot of people to him. People loved him through all of his trials and tribulations.
Before this dialogue ends, we're going to talk more about Tiger as the day goes on, but before this dialogue ends, I know at 67129 we'll get something to the effect, you think too much of him, you got him too exalted. You're going to get that. I understand that.
Of course.
But you're not changing my mind on it because I know what it's been like to be out there. And I said it a few weeks ago. Dave asked me a few weeks ago if I'd been watching. There's been a lot of documentaries roll out recently about Tiger. I haven't watched 1 second of any of them. Hadn't watched anything on HBO because I don't get HBO, so I haven't watched a second of it. Not going to. And I think is it one out on Netflix? Is it something else out there or other documentary?
There's plenty of them out there. I know the HBO one is the huge one. I'm pretty sure there's one on Netflix, not as big,
but
watched still watched.
I haven't watched any of them because I don't really care about the nitty gritty. I know I know enough about what went on. Here's the thing that I have enjoyed the most about Tiger Woods since about, what was the year he won the USAM down at Ponte Vedra, 94 maybe, when he won at the Island Green and had the big straw hat on and had on shorts. I think it was 94. Since about that time, here's what I've liked most about Tiger Woods: watching him play golf, watching him swing that golf club or golf clubs. His private life, it doesn't affect me. Anything he did, it didn't impact me one bit. Now does him on the golf course impact me? Yeah, because I enjoy golf. And it has been fun to watch what I think has been the greatest athlete of my life on the stage, on the performance stage, on the field of play. I think he has been the greatest.
I think that absolutely a lot of people would agree. And not everybody, I think, was touched the same way by the privatized, the family drama he had, by everything he went through. But I think there's a lot of people that were. A lot of people that saw it and said, I have been through the same thing. I have seen this. And he's showing me through this terrible, hard time in his life and him coming back that I can do the same thing, that I can come up out, rise from the ashes, so to speak, and be the best me I can be still, even though I've gone through these issues.
If you're out there and you don't know anybody, nobody kind of close, maybe even arm's length, or somewhere in your world, if you don't know somebody that's been through some form of addiction, count yourself as very, very lucky.
Absolutely. We have so many things.
And
nowadays.
I'd be very dubious that you don't know anybody that hadn't been through it. And his played out as everything played out on the front page. And some of it was just personal character issues. Again, not for me to cast judgment on, because it didn't involve me. It wasn't on the. In fact, it cost me from watching him really excel, because it knocked him out of competition for a few years, and now we'll see how long he's out. I mentioned Tom Ackerman at 4:00. We'll get T.J. Reeves' thoughts as well at 3:30, because T.J. Reeves, through his years of covering the PGA Tour for PGA Tour Radio, I know he's got a really, really fresh perspective on all things Tiger. We'll talk with TJ about that. A lot of Tigers talk today. A lot of Grizzlies talk with the schedule being released for the rest of the year after this first tranche of schedules completed. Tom Ackerman from KMOX Sports on Tiger, on spring training, on the NCAA tournament bubble, and a whole lot more. Mike DeCourcy on college basketball at 5 o'clock from the Sporting News. And then mostly Tigers at 5:30 as they prepare to finally play tonight against Tulane. Have you ever been so glad to see one of the more lopsided series in the history of college basketball be played tonight, Gabe?
Never. And Johnny was telling me earlier, 18 days, that's it? Feels like it has been 3 months since we've seen the Tigers play. It feels like it has been forever.
Last road game in January, and the Tigers have had those challenges. A lot of people have. Texas A&M with the news today of the Missouri game canceled. They haven't played since February 3rd, the 8th straight postponement for Texas A&M. But their AD made even bigger news yesterday. My friend Ross Bjork made a lot of news yesterday in saying they're playing college football next fall at College Station. Full crowds, full fan experience, full tailgating, full everything. It's the Texas way, come one, come all. It's easy to say in February.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm all for positivity in February, but as we approach, I think we need to see what's realistic and what's not, and maybe it is. Maybe it is when the vaccine rolls out, we get some needles and arms. It could be a reality, but in February, I think that's an easy thing to say.
It's very easy to say, and Ross is a very, I mean this in a nice way. I do, a very, very nice way. Very cagey, cautious, prudent and judicious person. He's not much for kind of the Texas bravado. I even texted him after he got the job down there. I said, I can't wait to see you in a big 10-gallon and a pair of cowboy boots, because he's like me. He's not a cowboy boots wearer. And so I don't think he's trying to play into that kind of that Texan ethos that they so often play into, and really got humbled last week, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But last night in college basketball, a lot going on. We talk about pauses. The Tigers getting off their pause. Baylor got off their pause last night, and I don't know if they got to catch much of that.
They stayed paused for a little while and turned it on.
Didn't they? Against a team with 2 wins this year, Iowa State, which, by the way, I saw Tyler Harris last night had a former Tiger, Memphian. Good game last night.
Yeah, but rough year for Tyler Harris.
Absolutely, but against one of the better teams, the best team in that conference, one of the best teams in the country, had a good game, 22 points, 5 for 8 from 3, looked decent. But yeah, Baylor didn't look too good in that first half. They turned it on though. The backstretch of that game.
I said yesterday, I think everybody's playing for third, maybe fourth.
Right.
There's not a third or fourth place game anymore, so it'd be the 2 teams defeated on the Saturday, the Final Four. But I think it starts at Gonzaga, Baylor, then maybe to Michigan, Villanova, Virginia. I heard last night Jimmy Dykes say there's 8 teams that can win it all. And I said yesterday, I thought there were a whole gob of teams. I think there might be 20 that can make the Final Four, but very few that can win it all.
Yeah, you look at Baylor and Gonzaga and how dominant they've been, and I do like that Michigan team. I think they've done a good job out of the Big Ten. You look at that conference and how sort of deep it is. I think Michigan's done a good job. I think they're probably the closest team that I would group with Baylor and Gonzaga. But after that, it's hard for me to imagine a whole lot of other teams making deep runs, although we will see some teams make some deep runs out of that group.
I think we will. We usually have some theatrics for the tournament. That's what makes it a lot of fun, and we look forward to it. And I know a way that you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it with the FanDuel app. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game. It's easy to register, easy to deposit. The range of betting options like player props, futures, find whatever bet you're looking for. It's FanDuel. They have heaps of options. Right now, FanDuel letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place a bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code CASH must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. The sun's out and the deals are as hot as that sunshine is bright. 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity March into spring sales event. Great offers on all 2021 models and always special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
You want to go first, Gabe? You got a top story?
Oh, of course I do. Of course
All right.
I have the top story of the day, and that has to be the Tigers. Tigers back in action finally after 4 postponed games in a row. You lost the Cincy game. You lost the Houston game. You lost Wichita State. 2 of those games, you look at the Houston and the Wichita State, could have been big resume builders when you're talking about NCAA tournament hopes. But those seemingly are slashed for the time being. But the good news is there has been a reschedule. It looks like they're trying to reshuffle the schedule. I don't know how much it will help. But the Tigers today, it has been announced that they're going to move up the game one day at South Florida from March 3rd to March 2nd in order to try to fit in a game. I don't know which game it will be. That is yet to be seen, but I think that is sort of on the forefront here today. And also, I want to know what Tiger team are you going to see. Are you going to see the Baylor of last night where you return from this big, long pause and you come out slow and you come out lethargic? You don't really have the shots falling. Or are you going to see a Tiger team that's hungry, that has been practicing, that has been working on this Lion offense for time and time again, and they're ready to go? It's going to be pretty apparent, I think, pretty early which team we're going to get.
I'm right there with you. With all the big stories, this Tiger basketball, that's my top story as well, because it feels a little like opening night part 2. Starting tonight for the Tigers against Tulane. They were a 12.5-point favorite last night, 11.5 today, over a team that they had to play well to defeat on the campus at Tulane back in December. They pulled that game out, but they had to play well to do it. Tonight starts the last chapter of the 3rd year for Penny Hardaway. A big push and a strong finish. It may mean NCAA tournament. Lackluster so-so finish to the end of this 3rd year means for the 3rd straight year under Penny Hardaway, no NCAA tournament. For the 7th straight year, no NCAA tournament for the program, and it will mark, even if they get into the NCAA tournament and they don't go to the Sweet 16, this would mark the longest absence from a Sweet 16 since Tiger basketball first started going to a Sweet 16 in 1973.
Phew. Wow. And while it is fun to see the Tigers back on the court, this game ain't going to do anything for your resume. It's not doing much for your resume
It
at
may
all.
hurt the net.
You need to win it. You need to go out there. You just need to get back in the swing of things. And when you look last night, it's going to be tough. You have Ole Miss, who's a bubble team, getting a big win over Mizzou on the road. And also Michigan State beats Illinois as well at home. So these are some – the Tigers' chances are getting few and far in between, but I guess remaining optimistic is the way to go in this situation.
Not top story of the day.
I'll go first there too. Not top. And you brought this up yesterday, you and Dave. I was not a fan of a majority of the coverage of the Tiger Woods incident. And I think there's people that did it right, and you guys mentioned those guys yesterday. But right now, if you go to ESPN and you look at the top headline, it says the sheriff's deputy who responded said Tiger was not drunk. Is that a headline we need to be reading right now? Is that something that we need to be worried about? Or should we be worried about Tiger right now being lucid in his thoughts, being in a good headspace, getting his injuries taken care of, seeing if his family's okay? But no, we right now, as a headline at the top of ESPN, are talking about the fact that Tiger is not drunk, or
Gabe,
not drunk.
I thought some of the comments, some of the loose innuendo, some of the kind of just around the edges, whether it was alcohol or prescription drugs, even, well, I don't even know if I want to go here. Yeah, I will. One even referenced that he thought Tiger looked despondent on Sunday with Jim Nance. And was it him
Saw the same
maybe
thing.
trying to take his own life? He had his seatbelt on. That should end that conversation right there. And this person that was referencing this, no professional background whatsoever in psychiatry, psychology, sociology.
Probably doesn't even know Tiger personally.
Probably he's never been around him any more than I have been. And fast and loose with that kind of innuendo, it was disgraceful. That's the word for it yesterday. It was shameful by some to, I don't know if they don't like his persona, they don't like his success, whatever it is. But at least let the man get carried to the hospital before you start that.
Before you start accusing him of being under the influence of drugs and alcohol, it's just it's gross. And also, I think to a certain extent, and I understand some of the talk around his future in golf. I understand it. He's bigger than life when it comes to the game of golf.
But there's a time for that too.
But absolutely there's a time, and I'm one. I don't doubt for a second that Tiger can come back and figure it out. I would not count him out for any of that, but let's wait on that conversation until we get a little bit of recovery, until we have time to think about it and see what happened.
Let's at least let his children and his mother get flown to his bedside before we start some of this.
Yes.
Gabe, it was disgraceful, and it was sports guys doing it that I think are so reckless. And I just wonder how they would like it if it were on them. My not top story, Core 4 member and beloved Memphis Grizzlies star Mike Conley, yet another Miss All-Star team. There's been a lot of stories about this. He may be the best player ever to not make an All-Star team. That's quite a distinction. I didn't even know that kind of that class existed, but he may be it. His number will properly be retired for his years as a member of the Grizzlies. There's no doubt about that. But I said it when people were talking about it at the time. Slow down on Core 4 statues. I think right. Tony Allen, Zach Randolph, Mark Gasol, and Mike Conley, all 4 numbers will be retired and should be retired. But statues out in front of FedEx Forum, slow down on that. They didn't win anything. They were important to getting to this point for the Memphis Grizzlies basketball team and in NBA basketball in Memphis. But in the end, he was dealt. He needed to be dealt. He probably should have been dealt in a bigger haul for him even sooner.
And you sort of wonder how Mike Conley himself feels about that distinction, being the best player ever to never make an All-Star game. I will say this. Why not expand the thing to 15 players? Why not? You look at NBA rosters,
it's the All-Star
15
game.
to 17 players.
It could be 20 for all
That's
I
what
care.
I'm saying. You look at normal NBA rosters, 15 to 17 players. Why not Be a little more inclusive. It will still be as exclusive as you want it to be. 15 players ain't going to change that.
I think baseball's gone all the way up to 35-man rosters for the All-Star game. They even said one year they played, I think it was at Fenway in 99, which it was old. It's not now, but it was old, cramped clubhouse. They didn't have enough room for everybody to dress. I mean, there was people out in the hallway, in their skiffs. And it just wasn't enough room for everybody. But, yeah, what of it? And for Mike Conley, maybe he'll stay around next year and he'll get that All-Star designation then. Gabe Kuhn with me today. You're listening to Sports Time. Up next, TJ Reeves.
Do you know who I am?
Who are you?
I'm Superfly TNT.
Johnny Radio.
Where do you want to be? 1 to 3? Right here with me. Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1 FM, Monday through Friday. This is Sports 56 Happy Hour. Your good buddy Johnny Radio.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer's specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Are you part of the cash economy but want to bet online? Action 24/7 has you covered. Deposit and withdrawal in cash. Place your bet online. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location near you. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do, and we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. With our wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
All 75 months at 3.04%. Mirage MH 002682. MSRP 16865. G4 MHF 01572. MSRP 18360. Outlander Sport MU 004915. MSRP 24740. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Ready, set, start your new year with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on Covington Pike. Get the hatchback hero in 2021 Mirage, $12,342 or $129 a month. 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, $13,997 or $149 a month. And jumpstart your journey in 2021 Outlander Sport, $17,938 or $199 a month. And these are not leases. You own your new ride. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is, this is the anthem. Throw all your hands up. Y'all got to feel me. Sing if you're with me, yeah.
No Dave today because, of course, he's doing the Tiger game tonight at FedEx Forum. Tip at 7 o'clock. He will be back with us tomorrow. Drew will be back with us next week. So Gabe Kuhn's in with me today. You can follow Gabe at G_Kuhn71, Kuhn. The Tiger great, part of the part of the cornerstone of making Tiger football what we are enjoying so much right now. He was there. Gabe, you were there. Were you in the locker room after the UT Martin game in 2012?
No, I wasn't. I was the year after. It was not always easy, I'll tell you that.
So
I was there for the 3-9 season, year 2 Fuente.
Gave the 3-9 that easily, with a couple of breaks, and you could feel it, you could sense it. That 3-9 could have easily been around 6-6, 7-5. Y'all let a couple wiggle off the hook. That in the end, it made you better.
Absolutely. That is one of the seasons I look back at, and I know for a fact that there is situations where teams know how to win and teams know how to lose. And that team that year, for whatever reason, knew how to lose. A lot of close games. Had a Fiesta Bowl winning Blake Bortles run UCF team on the ropes, fumbled a ball on a kickoff return, and just yacked that one up. So there was a lot of games that year that were just, you could tell the corner was about to be turned.
And the corner got turned for the team our next guest covers this year. In fact, it got turned so well, they were throwing a Lombardi trophy around 2 weeks ago today. TJ Reeves with us every Wednesday afternoon at 3:30. He joins us now, like Gabe Kuhn, proud graduate for TJ of Memphis State University. He joins us now. Hey, TJ, how are you?
Always good to be with you. Good to reminisce, too, about the Tigers. And I was thinking this when you guys were talking about it, that you cannot appreciate success unless you have had failure. Now, none of us want to fail regularly or fail on a large scale. But, I mean, what Gabe was just talking about is how you turn things around is because you realize this is how and why we've been failing. And whatever it is, in sports or in life. And so it's just great to hear those kind of stories because it's really easy to be part of a winning situation. Everybody wants to be around a winning situation, right, Gabe? Everybody wants to be around you when you're having your parties or whatever, when you're winning. Probably some lonely times on a 3-9 team on Saturday night after games or Friday night before games because
makes the ticket request easy.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
And I can totally identify with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having gone through what we went through. I mean, you fire 5 head coaches in 12 seasons, starting with John Gruden. Let me say that again. You fire 5 head coaches in 12 seasons, and you finally put enough of the pieces together that when you get Bruce Arians in as the head coach, you eventually convince the greatest of all time, this team is ready to win. Even though it has only had one winning season in the last decade, and God, I did so many bad post-game locker room shows with the interviews, season after season of 10 losses, 11 losses, 12 losses. But, man, it makes it much more enjoyable from where you come from. So enough of TJ being philosophical on a Wednesday. What other direction do you want to go, my friend?
Well, you know where we want to start. The biggest sports story yesterday and into today, and now the long convalescence, the long rehabilitation of Tiger Woods. And we want you to take our listeners into the years where you covered him for PGA Tour Radio, up close and personal to Goliath.
Well, I can tell you this, that I was having a flashback yesterday, and especially once the news began to come out that this was not life-threatening, I was having a flashback to 2009. So at that time period, my twins had just been born. I got 12-year-old gorgeous girls. I stick in the plugs whenever I can. I put them all over social media whenever my wife allows me to. I'm a proud girl dad. So they had just been born. I was hosting on PGA Tour Radio nationally on Sirius XM, had gotten a chance to work golf tournaments and be in and around Tiger Woods, and that's a professional thrill. And so as it turns out, just a quick story. So we had basically going into Thanksgiving weekend put things on autopilot because at that time on the PGA Tour schedule, they did not play golf tournaments in late November and December. They now, because of the wraparound, continue playing golf tournaments basically on the tour, either in the United States or somewhere all year round. So we had put things on autopilot after the Wednesday of Thanksgiving, and we're having a best of show on Thanksgiving, Thursday, and Friday. As it turns out, I got a freelance opportunity to broadcast Florida Gator basketball with Billy Donovan on the radio in Atlantic City, New Jersey, against Tom Izzo and Michigan State in a neutral site game in Atlantic City. And the reason is because the longtime Hall of Fame announcer for the Florida Gators, Mick Hubert, was doing the final home game on the same Saturday of one Tim Tebow, as he and the Gators were playing Florida State. It was going to be Tebow's final home game, and Mick Hubert was not going to miss Tebow's final home game for a basketball game. So TJ's doing the Gator game. So I'm coming to the point, I promise. I get off the plane in Atlantic City on Friday at about 10 or 11 a.m., and my phone has 59 different text messages and voicemails from everybody going berserk, because at that time we didn't know how seriously Tiger Woods had been injured in the incident with his wife and at their house and in Orlando. And remember, the original reports were that he was in critical condition after a car wreck. So we had to sort through all of that. So my point is, I was sitting here yesterday flashing back now 12 years and going, here we go again with what has happened. And I'm thankful with everybody else that he's okay. His golf career is secondary, obviously, right now to whatever golf he can play from here on out. It is a miracle that he was not seriously hurt or killed. And frankly, guys, it's a miracle that he didn't kill somebody else coming the wrong way across the road at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, whatever they're going to establish that he was going, with apparently no brakes, as you guys have been talking about and everybody's been talking about. No brakes, didn't try to stop. Don't know what happened, but went all the way across a median some 700 feet and down a hill, flipping the car. Again, I was just flashing back and being sentimental about what we went through before. And every time we think there's a final chapter to whatever happens with Tiger, now we open up another chapter, don't we, with this and what's going to happen after this.
And it's hard not to be sentimental when you talk about a guy like Tiger Woods, because with his beyond the golf, I think more than anything, the reason he has become so big and larger than life is because people see the humanity within him and the tribulations he's been through. And that's one of the things I look at, and I sort of see where people are just infatuated with him is because of the humanity he's shown throughout his career and how many failings he's had.
Well, you're right. I mean, and he got much more humanized here later in his career, humbled by the injuries, by the scandal in and around that car accident that I was talking about in 2009, that led to the just tumultuous wrecking of his personal life and then seeping into his professional life. But then he became much more likable amongst tour players, became more friendly to them, became more of a mentor to some of the younger guys. I mean, Tiger clearly changed who he was, because in the late 90s and in the 2000s, he was an Iceman. He was an assassin. He wanted nothing to do with you. He didn't want to know your name. He didn't want to look at you. He didn't want to shake your hand. None of that. He just wanted to go out and beat you. So it did change, and you know, the images of him with his kids, with playing with Charlie and the father-son thing last December, it's neat to see the human side. You're absolutely right about that. And again, I guess we're all thankful in a way, because this guy's a legend. This guy can go anywhere in the world and people know who he is. That's not an exaggeration. I mean, everywhere they know who he is. And we could be talking about a much different circumstance right now on a Wednesday afternoon. Thankfully, we're not with what happened.
For sure. TJ Reeves with us, talking a lot of different subjects. One more thing on Tiger. Tell us, in your coverage of him, hole by hole, in person, or even watching on television, your favorite all-time, can you believe he just pulled off that shot?
Oh, I could, come on, you're hurting me here, because I could
Give
do
me
10 of
one.
these.
Mine's
all right,
easy. I'm going to Akron in the dark. When the ball landed like a sack of sand by the pin.
I may have told you this one before. True story. I believe this was at Bridgestone in Akron, working PGA Tour radio, live radio play-by-play, and I get assigned to walk 18 holes with Tiger Woods, with the masses, with all that. So when you're assigned with him, you're with him from the time that he comes out of the locker room, goes to the putting green, goes to the practice range, goes to the first tee, the whole bit. So I'm on Tiger watch, I'm on Tiger duty the entire time. So I'm on the range with he and Steve Williams, and this is at the point when he's already won this tournament like 5 times, and maybe like 2 times in a row. And this is like the 3rd round. This is the Saturday 3rd round. And he is practicing wedge shots, all right? So this is not a story about something in an actual round, but this will give you an idea about him, about how great all these guys are, but how elite and how out of this world he was. He's practicing a wedge shot, and Steve has got the binoculars, Stevie Williams, and I'm about 10 feet away from him, and I can hear him because the access that I have with the credential that I have and the whole bit. And they're asking me, what is he doing? And I said, he's warming up. He's hitting wedges. That's what he's doing. And I can hear he's hitting, and Steve Williams is going 94, 92, 93, 93, 94 on every one of them. So I finally asked the analyst off the air. We're off the air. His name is John McGinnis. He still does a great job with PGA Tour Live, PGA Tour Radio. He's done hundreds of PGA Tour events the last 15 years on the radio, TV. I'm like, John, why is Tiger practicing a 93-yard wedge? And John's a former player, and John basically says to me off the air, you dummy, I'll clean it up. It's 93 yards from the end of the fourth hole to the hole today. From the drop-off of where he's got to hit his drive, it's 93 yards. I said, John, he's practicing a 93-yard wedge? He said, hell yes, he's practicing a 93-yard wedge today. At that moment, gentlemen, I understood why the man was as great as he was, and why all of them are, again, uniquely talented in different ways. But my God, standing there watching him practice a 93-yard wedge shot to the yard, to the foot, that's Tiger Woods. There you go. That's the story I tell.
Yeah, people can argue all day Jack being better because of all of his accomplishments, but talent-wise, I mean, gosh, I can't think of any golfer that we can really compare to Tiger Woods. But moving on, you just got done with the Super Bowl. That's awesome. Congrats. I haven't got to talk to you since then. What is about to happen with all these free agents? There's a bunch of free agents the Bucs are going to have to deal with. Shaq Barrett's out there.
Right.
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin's out there. I believe Levante David's out there.
Gronk, AB,
right.
Antonio Brown.
Mike Evans
Pierre,
talking
Paul.
about restructuring. Is this going to be a situation where that ring on the finger is going to make all the difference?
I think you cannot keep everybody. All right, so that's the first thing. You're going to have to be ready for 2 or 3 of these guys to be gone. World, according to TJ, they aren't letting Chris Godwin be gone, the complimentary receiver to Mike Evans. They're going to find a way that with the franchise tag over the next week or a long-term deal to keep him. Do you have to sacrifice the pass rusher Shaq Barrett you were just mentioning, who led the NFL in sacks 2 years ago and had so many big plays in the postseason against the Saints and the Packers and the Chiefs? I don't know if they can keep both he and Godwin with the big money. And then who wants to take less to still be here? Are guys like Leonard Fournette, who's on a 1-year deal, Antonio Brown. Is Rob Gronkowski still going to play 1 more year? From what I'm hearing, he wants to play 1 more year, which is pretty amazing, which leads to a whole other discussion about whether Rob Gronkowski was retired from the NFL or whether he was retired from the New England Patriots. If he plays another year after he was supposedly retired, it's a strong indication he was retired from the New England Patriots. So anyway, you can't keep all of these guys, and then how do you prioritize? I would say Godwin 1. Leonard Fournette's a very interesting one. Would he be willing to take a little less because running backs don't get as much? Yes, Christian McCaffrey did. Ezekiel Elliott did. But I don't know that Fournette can get huge money really anywhere else. Does he want to stick around to try to win a ring? And then who else wants to come here and fit in kind of like Fournette did, like Antonio Brown did, like Ndamukong Suh came back for less money? Would a J.J. Watt want to come here for less money? Who else wants to come here for less money and try to get a ring in 2021? That's the real story. Here comes the challenge.
And Tom Brady has been blessed with running backs that would do that. The best football LeGarrette Blount ever played in his life was always hand in glove with Tom Brady, really making less dough than he made anywhere else.
And you look at names like Kevin Falk and James White and Dion Lewis and all these little
Danny Woodhead.
Exactly. Different Rex Burkhead, the last couple of, guys that would just come in and not make a ton of money and go catch 60 or 70
I think I crossed Danny Amendola with Rex Woodhead, didn't I?
Well, I helped you. I picked you up. Yeah, Rex Burkhead. Yeah, that's okay. Danny Woodhead was a running back, and I don't think Woodhead played with the Patriots, but again, it's the same premise that they would just interchange different running backs that don't make a lot of money, but would still go run for about 600 or 700 yards and catch about 60 or 70 passes, and be content to get a ring every April or May in the ceremony. And enjoy themselves and talk. LeGarrette Blount's got 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yes, sir.
James White's got 2 or 3 of them. I think Dion Lewis got at least a couple of them. Leonard Fournette now has
Shane
one.
Vereen.
What an amazing turnaround just real quick for him, because I know you got to go in a second, to get cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the worst teams in all of pro sports for the last decade, to cut you when you were their former number 1 pick, and then 2 weeks later you end up on the Buccaneers with Tom Brady, and then you end up in the postseason being a hero and winning a ring. That's fairy tale stuff, guys, for Fournette.
Yes, it is. Real quick, TJ, you're right. We have to go, but I want to ask you this: for the economic impact to that area, and it's so key. Spring training doing anything for that beautiful area of the world you live in?
I believe it will be, because they're going to allow some fans. The Rays announced this today, that they're going to allow about 1,000 fans at games in Port Charlotte. So for most of these ones, and again, the Yankees train in Tampa, the Phillies train over in Clearwater across the bay. The Blue Jays, by the way, are going to play regular season games here to start the season in April in the minor league stadium in Dunedin over in Pinellas County. So there are about 7 or 8 in our greater area that play here, and yes, there will be some people here and some people able to go. It's not what it was, but you're going to be able to have some spring training here in and around, and over on the East Coast where the Cardinals are. I know your beloved Cardinals and the Nationals and the Mets and the Marlins and that whole group. They can have some fans there, and I'm a big glass half full guy. Let's have some as opposed to not having anything at all. I'll take it.
I'll take it. And we took you today, and we love doing it every single week. We could talk to you all day, every day. TJ, thank you for everything, and we will be visiting with you next week. Enjoy the Tiger game tonight.
I want the Tigers to do well. I got Wolo back on the call. All is right with the world. You guys be well, and when you get a chance, when it warms up, practice those 93-yard wedge shots. You boys be well.
Thanks, TJ.
Thank you very much. It might go 93 on one swing, Gabe, and 112 on the next one. Do right. I didn't do anything any different. I don't know where it's going.
Consistency is key. You got to get the consistency down.
That's right. 67129 at the text line. If you'd like to weigh in, a lot of good texts. We'll get to those. 360-8255. We'd love to hear from you today. Look, everybody, the new 2021 Silverados, they are at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch on Kraft Goodman Road. All the beautiful All-Star Chevrolet vehicles. The sun's out, and they will stay open tonight until 7:30, 8 o'clock till the last customers there. They're open to try to make up for last week. Kicked off a big sale last week, and you know what we had? They're trying to make it up. These hot new trucks, they've got them. You want a new Silverado? All-Star, they have them. The new 2020s, new 2021s, 0 for 72 months available right now at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. You got to know if it's a Chevy you want, Olive Branch is the place to be. New 2021 Equinox, Blazers, third row Traverse. Talk about the deals. Go to allstarautogroup.com and look at all the slightly driven demos. Previous loaners, you're getting your oil changed. They give you a car to take back to work or something. That's the kind of vehicles we're talking about. All-Star with dozens of certified pre-owned Chevys, Tahoes, Impalas, Silverados. Everyone at All-Star, one job to do. Make sure you get the best deal, have more fun, and do it in record time. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go online to allstarautogroup.com. Remember, open tonight until at least 7:30, or till the last person is driving off in a new vehicle at All-Star Chevrolet. When we come back, we wrap up hour number 1. You're listening to Sports Time.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system during the month of February and get a gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat, plus 12 months interest free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
The President's Day event is in full swing at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And we're celebrating with 2020 Dodge Journey SE $19,990 or $249 a month. Or pump up your attitude with the 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude $21,740 or $277 a month. Or take your pick 2020 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman or 2021 Dodge Challenger XST $339 a month. It's your choice, Ram 1500 or Challenger. We Gossett at $339 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike or shop online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost financed through Chrysler, all 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.19 APR. Journey LT 296,053, MSRP 26,860. Latitude MD 168,760, MSRP 27,805. 1500 LS 156,730, MSRP 35,185. Challenger MH 581,58, MSRP 31,160. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stotts. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Willochen and Brett Noseworthy.
A whole lot more Memphis Tigers basketball talk as the show develops, and of course a lot more Tiger Woods talk. Last night in the SEC, Ole Miss, it just really highlighted how hurtful and I think adverse it's going to do to their NCAA resume, the loss Saturday at home to Mississippi State. They go on the road last night and they win at Mizzou. I don't know how good that Mizzou, that Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU, some of those on the periphery for that 5th and 6th SEC slot that they really are. LSU, I can't remember who early in the week said keep an eye on them, and I was shaking my head when I heard it. No, I don't think they have enough gumption about them. I've seen them just really almost quit in some performances, and I thought they did last night. 91-78 loss to Georgia. Florida, they defeated Auburn 74-57. No Sharif Cooper, almost no prayer for the Plainsmen last night. Florida needed that win, and I mentioned the Ole Miss 60-53 win at Columbia last night. Number one in baseball, Ole Miss. They will be on at 96.1 FM coming up at 4 o'clock with first pitch in Oxford today against Arkansas State. They take the mound for the first time in school history as the number one ranked team in college baseball. A good friend of mine has confessed to the person that told me to keep an eye on LSU. He texted with a smiley face. It was me that said LSU. I don't trust Will Wade, and I don't trust the dynamic at LSU right now. And the news today about Les Miles, the investigations that are constantly going on there. Gabe, I just think another Will Wade in trouble story will pop up come NCAA tournament time and distract that team again.
It absolutely will. And just you still have guys that he recruited that are part of these investigations that are on the team. And it's the inconsistencies they've had all year. The first half last night was just so ugly. And then from there on, I agree with you. For lack of a better term, it just seems like they do quit when they get down early. They were down 45.
I went gumption, but you went keyword. I like it.
They went 45 to 29 at halftime, and then they came out the second half, and just both teams, Georgia and them, seemed to coast through the rest of that game knowing how it would end up.
for the umpteenth time. I don't know. I don't think the SEC's that good, but I do think they're going to get 6 bids because there's 68 teams invited. You have to have 68 teams on the board. They're at least that good. Will they make a lot of noise? I don't think so. I don't think there's a Final Four run team, maybe an Elite Eight. And usually the SEC provides not the tournament shocker, but I'm thinking of the Auburn profile when they went to the Final Four 2 years ago, South Carolina, when they did it long time ago, really before they got good under Billy D, when Lon Kruger took a team to the Final Four in 94. LSU's been that team a time or two, 86 with Dale, 06 with John Brady. So they kind of provide that team, but I don't know there's anybody that's scared to death to draw any of those SEC teams in the bracket.
Make no mistake about it, the SEC has done a way better job recruiting basketball over the past few years. But the teams at the top this year, and I guess it's a little bit accentuated because of COVID and the offseason woes and everything else, the teams with the most seniors are winning and are more consistent. Arkansas being one of them, Alabama being another. LSU has older guys. They're being a little more consistent. It's no surprise who's at the top of the conference right now based on what guys have stayed, who has built the program to be, junior and senior centric.
Some staying power, and when we do our brackets, first thing I'm going to do with my bracket is I'm going to put Gonzaga and Baylor in the finals against each other, and then work the rest of the way around the bracket. And then I'm going to try to find veteran teams that have been tested a little bit in some white knuckle type games this year in doing the bracket. And of course, we do all that, and somebody picks the best nicknames and the best colors win the bracket contest.
Of course. Someone who has no knowledge of anything college basketball is going to win it.
Yeah, you do all that. Again, Ole Miss baseball on 96.1 FM starting in just a few minutes against Arkansas State. Not a bad afternoon if you can go, if you're one of the fortunate ones with the limited crowds that you can go to the game at OU Stadium in Oxford this afternoon. So that should be fun. Run out on the field for the first time in school history, very proudly, is number one in the country. When we come back, we will talk some baseball. It'll be Major League Baseball version, though, spring training. We'll talk Tiger Woods. We'll talk Bubble. We'll talk the Valley. We'll do all that with Tom Ackerman. He's up next with us on Sportstime.
Folks, the Chevy Sheriff for Sunrise Chevy in Collierville. To get the most car or truck for your money, think Sunrise Chevy. Best selection, think Sunrise Chevy. Biggest savings, think Sunrise Chevy. Huge used car selection, think Sunrise Chevy. Immediate financing, think Sunrise Chevy. Low payments, think Sunrise Chevy. Big discounts, think Sunrise Chevy. Cars under 10 grand, think Sunrise Chevy. Bad credit, think Sunrise Chevy. Body shop, think Sunrise Chevy. Need service work, think Sunrise Chevy. The selection's better and the savings bigger. 385 in Houston Levy and Collierville. Find new roads to Sunrise Chevy.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
The President's Day sales event is going strong at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. That's less than $5 a day for a new ride. 2021 Kia Soul, completely redesigned exterior and interior, $149 a month lease. And 2021 Kia K5, just $182 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter in your new Kia from Gossett
at Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19,038, MSRP $20,625, Soul M7755 $638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax title and license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Our most vulnerable veterans are isolated at hospitals. And during their greatest time of need, their loved ones can have little or no contact with them. Imagine having to shelter in place forever. Learn how you can help at healvets.org. Help Heal Veterans, with the support of citizens like you, is making things better together. Learn more at healvets.org. This message is furnished by Help Heal Veterans, a not-for-profit organization.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave out today. He's doing the Tiger game tonight. He's back with us tomorrow. Drew's out. He's back with us next week. Gabe Kuhn in with me. Now until 6 o'clock. We started an hour ago. We have 2 hours left, and we want you to be a part of it. At 67129, that's the text line, or 360-8255. And we get to have a merger here of some of St. Louis's finest right now. One of my favorite people on earth, Tom Ackerman, joins us now from one of my favorite places on earth, KMOX Sports. I think I just knocked him off too, Gabe. I'm sorry. Will you call Tom back? As I was giving him the big introduction, I think I did that with the mouse. But we'll have Tom Ackerman from KMOX Sports to join Lafayette High School's offensive lineman extraordinary, Gabe Kuhn. Lafayette High School also very famous for 2 great baseball players, MVP of a World Series in David Freese and MVP of the National League in Ryan Howard. So Lafayette High School very much known for its baseball. Gabe Kuhn made it known for its football, and we were glad when he got on I-55 and headed south to Memphis to become part of the Tiger program and part of our family here at Sports 56. Tom Ackerman joins us now. Tom Ackerman, it's great to have you with us. I've introduced you to Gabe from Lafayette High School. Tom Ackerman, glad to have you with us.
Hey, it's great to be with you. Lafayette High School, you know who went there? My wife.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's something.
Yeah.
Graduating class of what?
So there's another connection. Class of '89.
Okay. The Lancers. She's a Lancer.
Yep, she's a Lafayette Lancer. So as I'm always reminded, as you said, whenever Freese's name comes up, she's like Lafayette. You know. So.
Exactly.
And I don't want to, correct or add on, but Luke Voigt as well with the Yankees. He's a Lafayette alum.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's good.
Ryan Howard.
Yeah, Ryan Howard, David Freese.
Mm-hmm.
Not much known for football, though. I found a way, though. One way or another, I was going to get out of there for football.
I tell you how Gabe found the way, Tom. We were joking the other day. I've always been, in every sports picture, I've always been front row guy. Gabe has always been back row guy, being an offensive lineman.
That's right. Yeah. That's good. It's a great school. And we're very proud of the stars that have been brought out of there, including you.
Yeah, I was trying to tell Stats that it's not that I'm a Lafayette guy. You're a West County guy if you're from Lafayette. If you're in the Rockwood School District at all, you're West County. That's how you're defined at that point.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think that it's interesting. I think that when you're out of town, because I talk to people about this. St. Louis is very territorial.
Very.
Provincial, I guess is the word, right? So, you're from wherever. But I always tell people, because we have this discussion in town all the time, like city, county, North County, South County. I'm from Belleville. I'm from Wentzville. I'm like, do you ever, when you go out of town, do you tell people, like, hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from O'Fallon, or I'm from Ladue. No, you say you're from St. Louis.
Yeah.
So embrace. We had this argument because the new MLS team is going to be named St. Louis City SC, and when they came out with the name, people were like, "Oh, there they go." City, calling it the city for those of us who don't live in the city. I'm like, St. Louis is the city. It is your city. I'm like, it's all the city.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is your downtown. It's your city. You tell people that you're from St. Louis. Isn't that your city? You're like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Well, yeah. I mean, they're not the Belleville Cardinals. They're the St. Louis Cardinals. They're everybody's Cardinals.
If you're talking St. Louis into St. Louis, and it's what high school did you go to, though? That's
That's
That's the first
That's the
rejoinder.
St. Louis question right there.
That one I'm not as that one I don't get as down on, because I tell people, like, that one's kind of an icebreaker sometimes when you're, and that one kind of bothers people, but then it's always a conversation starter. So if I was like, hey, where'd you not that I would ever ask it, but if someone said, hey, where'd you go to high school, and you would say Lafayette, I'd be like, hey, my wife went to Lafayette, or hey, and then it becomes a little conversation. St. Louis is is very much like that. What I don't like is when someone, feels a little left out, like, well, I didn't go to high school around here, but I am a St. Louis, and I've lived here for 30 years. So.
And, Tom, I promise you, yesterday when the news broke of Tiger Woods, I thought so fondly of all the things, and I've been very, 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 very lucky with the golf majors, with the things I've done in sports. One of my very fun times, most fun times, was in 2018 in West County, out at Belle Reve, and to be at the PGA Championship in St. Louis was so longing to be back, except, other than the Cardinals, to be back on that big sports stage. Kind of, had taken some lumps over the Rams, and to have the PGA Championship at Belle Reve. And I said earlier, Brooks Koepka's name is on the Wanamaker Trophy, but Tiger Woods won that event that weekend, Tom.
He did, and St. Louis was ready for him. They were ready. They knew that the greatest, maybe the greatest of all time, was coming into town, and it was the first major in St. Louis since 1992, and the city was ready, and Tiger's presence was a huge part of that. So when he showed up, and St. Louis brought it. I mean, they were really good during the practice rounds with big galleries, but the first round when Tiger played, they absolutely brought it. And at the end of the day, in his little press conference with the media, he steps up there and answers a few questions before he goes on about his way. He mentioned the St. Louis crowd. He said, boy, these crowds, it's so big, and they were so positive, and they were so respectful. They were so respectful to my playing partners and to the other players around me that was very impressive, and they were great crowds. Well, I mean, the St. Louis crowd ate that up because, they're proud. There's a lot of pride there. So they heard that, and you know what? They came back the next day, and they brought it twice as hard. And that was a very special time. Those 4 days in front of those galleries, Tiger Woods, St. Louis, you're absolutely right. There will always be something there between the two. And so it was a huge, as it was around the world, huge story here yesterday. And I'm very relieved. I'm heartbroken for him that he has to go through this. I'm relieved that it wasn't life-threatening, but it's going to be very difficult. And,
It's what he is all about is golf and competition, and he's faced with something very serious now. But I am relieved that that he's alive. That he's very lucky to be alive. So St. Louis fell in love with Tiger a long time ago, but that 2018 brought us together. That's for sure.
100%. And sorry for the tough transition going into this, but college basketball, you have two teams there. I know from experience in St. Louis, SLU and Mizzou. Mizzou actually having a pretty decent year basketball-wise. SLU, I know they were in a bubble, and I'm not sure if they've had any postponements. I don't think so to date. But what are the feelings right now around tournament chances for those teams? I know SLU is not in great position right this second, but who knows once they get into conference tournament time.
Yeah, and with the start of the season, Missouri, Illinois, and SLU were all considered to be, and we have a ton of Illinois fans here, that were all considered to be top 25 caliber teams, and I really thought, looking at it, that SLU might be the best of the bunch if all things work out for them. They're incredibly deep. They're super talented. They have a really good coach in Travis Ford. I mean, there's a chance this team could be really special. And as it turns out, COVID definitely hurt this team's chances to get into the NCAA tournament. They went in with a 7-1 record into a month-long shutdown. They had to pause for a month. They missed a lot of games. They tried to make them up, but in the process, they got off to a slower start coming out of the pause, and they've had a couple of missteps here on the court recently, and it just hasn't worked out for them. And unfortunately for them, they just don't have enough wins and didn't have enough games scheduled for quality wins to make up ground. So they're on the outside looking in right now. Basically, they're going to have to win the Atlantic 10 tournament to get in.
100%. I
think they can do that. They did it 2 years ago, and last year they had a team that was really hot. They could have won the Atlantic 10 tournament, but it got, obviously, like everything else, shut down. So they could, but it's unfortunate. I think for Missouri, they have a good, solid team, but the SEC has proven to be one of the best leagues in the country, and if you don't have a disciplined team and they've had the tendency to turn the ball over and they've missed some shots, you're going to get beat. And so, they for whatever reason haven't played extremely well. They've had some games and really quality wins, which I think is going to get them in because they have a lot of good wins. So I think they'll find themselves in the tournament because of that, but they haven't been able to get on any kind of streak. Tough team, definitely go through their big guy, Jeremiah Tillman. He had to miss a couple of games because of a death in the family, and now that he's back, you can see how much he makes them better. But they get beat by teams that have good, quick, solid guard play, and Missouri has good, tough guard play, but for whatever reason, they tend to turn the ball over and don't match up very well against a better spread out guard heavy team, and that has worked against them. So we'll see if they can come out of it.
Tom Ackerman, our guest from KMOX Radio in St. Louis. You can follow Tom on Twitter at Ackerman1120 appropriately for KMOX Signal. With the hodgepodge of fans, the melting pot of college basketball fans in the area, heavy Big Ten influence. Now with Mizzou, some SEC influence. The Valley, you mentioned the A-10. Will you do Missouri Valley games this year, and how many teams out of said Valley?
I think the Valley definitely should have two teams in. They have the 21st ranked team in the country is Loyola. I'd put Loyola against just about anybody in a game and take my chances. They're just so solid passing the ball. They have the best passing big man in the country, Cameron Krutwig, and they're just like that Loyola team that went to the Final Four. They're definitely dangerous. The other team that doesn't maybe get as much attention because they're not ranked as Drake. Drake was undefeated for a while. Loyola kind of put him in their place, and Drake came back, beat him in overtime. Drake's really good, too. They are a top 25 caliber team, and for my money, I'd have both of those teams in. Now, reality is you're probably going to have one of those teams win Arch Madness and then the other one get in. I just think that it's a two-bid league. I really do. I think those are two teams. Now, there are two other teams in that league that have a shot. Missouri State's capable of winning the conference tournament, and Indiana State is a team that can get hot and win the tournament. Beyond that, I think they'll really struggle to find somebody outside of those four to win their conference tournament. But regardless, I feel like it's a two-bid league, and they've proven over the last many years. I mean, they win games. I mean, you put a Valley team in, they're going to win in the first round. They won 10 straight first-round games. I mean, they put teams in the Final Four, Wichita State, Loyola. It can happen, and I think it could happen again. I think that Loyola team is awfully good and very well coached.
Every time that Arch Madness gets brought up with me, it just brings up a certain amount of nostalgia. Went there every single year growing up, had tickets for every Saturday game, went to a couple championship games as well. But, growing up, it was, Creighton, Wichita State, Missouri State, SIU were always the teams that seemed to come along. But with the loss of Creighton and Wichita State, it seems like the Valley has sputtered a bit and hasn't had teams in those premier seeds like they used to. Do you think that losing those teams, and I know it was a few years ago, and I think, down the road you sort of see the residual effects of it, but has that had a negative effect on the conference as a whole?
I don't think so. I think, Loyola, adding them after Creighton left and watching Loyola go to the Final Four was pretty strong. I mean, that was pretty strong vindication there. The other addition after Wichita State left was Valparaiso, which I would count as a Chicago area team. It's about an hour east of Chicago. It's it's a league I think that has still some power. I think the problem that you're seeing is that while the Valley is a coach's league, you're seeing some players now transfer and go to bigger programs. Yeah. So, they have to somehow stop that from happening. But, you still have the development of really good basketball teams like Loyola and Drake this year. And, the quality of basketball is still very strong. I think, it's just a matter of getting those opportunities to schedule the great teams. That's the other thing, is that these bigger programs just don't want to schedule it. I mean, why in the world would a great program schedule a Valley team? There's nothing that you would hope they would, but to a big program, there's nothing to gain there except the Valley team's going to knock you off. So that's the struggle that they face. And then the other thing, this year in this pandemic, there's really no chance for the Valley teams to gain those huge non-conference wins because a lot of those preseason tournaments had to be postponed or moved. So that's the other hard part. You gotta get your big wins early in the season when you get your chance in the non-conference. So that was kind of a hard part. But I don't think that it has. I think there's still great exposure for the league too. It has a good television package. It does really come down to opportunities to play the good teams.
Tom, Cardinal baseball, I think I speak for a lot of people coming, it's still in the throes of this pandemic after the abbreviated season last year. People like me in St. Louis, or they like me, just so ready for opening day on the road in Cincinnati, and then to come home to the Busch Stadium opening day. And when Nolan Arenado's announced, when Yadier Molina's announced, when Adam Wainwright's announced, go crazy, folks.
It's the best. The Cardinal experience is pretty amazing. They're here. I was joking with somebody the other day. I mean, Nolan Arenado is on this team. Yadier Molina is on this team. Adam Wainwright is back on this team. You keep adding more people, you're going to have to extend the game to like 3.5 hours to account for all the ovations they're going to get if they're fans of the seats. It's just Cardinals fans are just in love right now. We know we have a lot in your audience right now that share that. It's a long way, and there's a lot of work to be done, and nobody knows that more than Cardinals fans, but they have set themselves up for a very special year. I think the biggest thing right now is to get through this spring training and find enough innings for all their pitchers, And for me, I think their pitching will still be fine regardless. All of that can be talked about. I want to know who's going to bat leadoff and set the table, and how's this team going to score some runs. And if they do, they're going to be really dangerous because they can prevent runs. We know that. And their pitching is really deep. I mean, regardless of who makes this rotation, the bullpen's going to be strong. So, yeah, it's a good feeling. If you're a Cardinals fan and you're excited about this team, you have every reason to be, because they've set up to be really special. If you are picking this team apart and you're pointing out all their flaws and you've got a million questions, guess what? You're a Cardinals fan, because that's what they do. That's what we do. I mean,
that's what we do.
We examine this team and
we squeeze them to death.
Yeah, they're held to a high standard. So that's just sort of the way it is. I think Arenado will figure that out right away, if he hasn't already, that he's in a different place now, and this is, the standards are raised, and that's why Yachty came back, and that's why Adam Wainwright came back. They know that, and they went out and did some shopping to see who else was out there. It's nice to be courted, but in the end, it's nice to be part of an organization that has winning as its top priority. And it's good to have that feeling back again, because I felt like some fans really questioned the Cardinals' direction, whether they really cared and were committed to winning. And they've proven absolutely we are.
They are committed, and I am glad they are. All in for the Cardinals opening day. No fooling, April 1st in Cincinnati, and then the home opener April 8th. I bet we visit with you before opening day for either one of those, Tom Ackerman. We sure look forward to it, and thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. Great to talk to you as always. And, yep, baseball's right around the corner. And
pick you a football game out next fall.
Let's do it, man. Oh, man.
You and your Ole Miss crew.
If they reopen the Grove, I'll know we're back. I'll know we're back for real when that thing opens up.
You got it. Thank you, Tom
Thanks,
Ackerman.
Tom. All right, see ya.
Love visiting with Tom Ackerman from KMOX Sports in St. Louis. Again, the Cardinals opening day against the Reds in that traditional Cincinnati opener. That's a festive scene. I haven't been to that, but I have been to a game in Cincinnati, and it's a fun baseball town. And then April 8th, the Cardinals home opener. Gabe, growing up, favorite Cardinal? Ooh. When you grew up, when you played Little League Baseball, who did you say, I'm so-and-so?
The obvious one's Albert Pujols. I mean,
AP.
It's just you can't speak enough on what he did for the franchise. But obviously, Yachty was always a guy who you sort of look at, just so fantastic. His glove behind the plate was just something to be lauded, something to look at. Those would have to be the two guys. Those are the obvious ones. Those are the ones that you look at.
Legends. Cardinal lore. Yeah, in Cardinal lore, Stan Musial, but he retired when I was 1. So all I know is, there are a lot of highlights, prodigious highlights. But then through most of my Cardinal fandom through the 70s and 80s, I just loved Keith Hernandez. And then in the dumbest trade ever, they traded him to the New York Mets. And then for a long time, really didn't have a favorite. Honestly, my favorite Cardinal for a lot of years, and maybe, and it doesn't count because he didn't play, it was Jack Buck as the voice of. But then Albert Pujols hits the scene in 2000, and then Yadier Molina, and those two are my favorites. And I've said I yield to Yachty as all-time favorite because he never left.
Yep, and when I was real young, I could say, I'm going to show my age here when I say when I was real young, and I bring up Ray Langford. Ray Langford alongside Mark McGwire for those years being the four-place hitter, being the cleanup hitter there. He was good. He was fantastic.
Would y'all go to Old Busch Stadium?
Oh, all the time. Actually, my grandfather had a hand in building Old Busch Stadium with the family construction company and everything else. So have a lot of history with Old Busch Stadium.
I miss Old Busch Stadium. Now, I prefer the new one.
The new one is pretty nice.
It is very nice, but I tell you, the thing I love the most about Old Busch Stadium is, in that 5th, 6th inning, you want to stretch. You could stroll around the whole ballpark and never miss a pitch. You could see the whole game and just kind of make that circle. And now you can't with the fits and starts now, how they do the outfield. And now the seating everywhere, because no place wants poachers. They don't want you buying that $25 ticket and sitting down there in the green seats in the $300 tickets. So you really can't stroll anywhere anymore like you used to at a stadium, arena, or ballpark.
Yeah, and even in the standing room at times, they have all the bells and whistles, and they're sort of blocking your view at times when you're strolling around in the outfield and everything else. But I enjoy New Busch Stadium. I really enjoy Old Busch Stadium, the historic sort of arches going around the thing. Where it's just.
It was
part of my
architectural
childhood.
marvel. It really was, and all those arches inset. And when I go, I can still kind of feel myself at Old Busch Stadium. And made a point in the last year of Old Busch Stadium in 2005. When the schedule came out that year, I said I'm either going to go to the last game of the Cubs coming through that year. That will be my last game at Busch Stadium, or to a playoff game. Well, the Cardinals didn't go to the playoffs that year, so I went to a Cubs game, and it was round 2, second tour of duty for Greg Maddux with the Cubs, about a 91-pitch masterpiece where he never broke 75 that night and handcuffed the Cardinals. That was my last game at Old Busch Stadium.
And I can't wait till I can make some new memories in the New Busch Stadium. It's been a long while since I've been able to get there, and
that's a Bob Gibson line. That's a Bob Gibson line. He said, quit all the crying and boo-hooing about Old Busch Stadium. We will make new memories at the new one, and we have 2 World Series titles. When we come back, we will talk about a lot of things, including the Les Miles story today in Baton Rouge with the LSU Tigers. We'll talk Memphis Tigers. We'll talk Tiger Woods, and also want to talk the big game tonight for Arkansas at Bud Walton Arena between Alabama and Arkansas. First matchup of 2 top 25 teams at Bud Walton Arena since 1998. Stay with us. We do that next on Sports Time.
Get your fill of sports for lunch every weekday on Sports 56 Middays with Greg and Eli. The latest sports talk, sought after guests, your calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more every weekday from 10 to 1 on Sports 56.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
It may be cold outside, but your deals keep getting hotter and hotter, Jeff. Hey, let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter with the Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah President's Day sales event.
We got you covered, Randy. Let's talk. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, redesigned inside and out, $149 a month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5, $182 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. Plus, every Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, Soul, M7755,638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, include all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax filing license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
A lot of good texts at 67129. Keep them coming. 360-8255. Gabe in with me today. We're with you until 6 o'clock. Texter, I think you got it. I think you got it a little bit right and a little bit wrong. Texter says Gabe is too young. Gabe, it's not that you're too young; it's that me and the texter are too darn old. That's what it is. when you go through memory lane, look, your memories are your memories. It's like music. I mean, it's art. It's what you prefer.
Hey, I said I'd show my age, but it's what it is.
Texter mentions Ozzie Smith and Mark McGuire. For sure, a lot of fun those years. But you said you got to see some of the Mark McGuire at the end?
Did. Sure did.
So in Summer of Love, 1998 with Sammy Sosa, Gabe was how old?
Oh, gosh. You really want me to say this on the air?
3 or 4?
3.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you play football as a freshman in the fall of 2013, let's see here. We can do this math. Well, I may have to take my shoes off to do any more long form math than that, Gabe. But that's how it happens. I mean, there was a time, me mentioning Keith Hernandez is my favorite, that sounded, very young to people. They were going, oh, no, it was Johnny Mize, or it was, Stan the Man, or it was,
right.
Marty Marion, or all those names, and that happens, and that is one of the timeless things about sports is, you just because you didn't see them play back then, you can sure learn about them. We had a texter talk about, I think he was referencing, I know in the first hour, about Tiger Woods, and we mentioned, I thought, some of the disgraceful commentary that was yesterday and today around him. The texter says, to be fair, that's the first thing that came to mind for most people talking about Tiger. I don't disagree with you, Texter. I think you're right. That was one of the first things that may have came to mind, but that doesn't mean it has to come out of your mouth.
It doesn't. It truly does not. And I knew, but with these things, when stories break like this, you know that there's going to be things like that. You know that there's going to be people that take it too far, and it is what it is. I wish it would stop, but I know it won't.
No, and sadly, it'll probably only get worse as the years go on. I just beg people to kind of wade through kind of the good info and the bad info, and some of the things I think are impolite and some that are not. One very unflattering story coming out of Baton Rouge today. Talk of payments, talk of legal action around Les Miles during his years at LSU. That was found by an outside firm that LSU hired. USA Today uncovering this story, and at Les Miles now at Kansas. His AD at Kansas, Jeff Long. Jeff Long can really find the trouble too out there. He seems to be a lightning rod for it. I don't think it's coincidental. I know the job performance at Arkansas was just one of the sorriest ever in the history of AD jobs. It was going to be very difficult for anyone post Coach Frank Broyles to fill those shoes at Arkansas. Jeff Long didn't come close. He almost finished off Arkansas. It really highlights the great job Hunter Yurchek's doing now with, I know, just 1 year with Sam Pittman, but that looks like that's in the going in the right direction, in the ascendancy in football. And tonight with the game at Bud Walton Arena just highlights what a great hire Eric Musselman has been. Jeff Long never came close to that. He already found some controversy at Kansas with the Kansas Midnight Madness controversy around Snoop Dogg and things. Now, and Gabe, I said it at the time. I said it at the time. That was not on Snoop.
Not at all. They okayed that. That was talked about beforehand. He did not have. I mean, he mentioned the stripper poles. He mentioned the things. This is not like they didn't talk about this. This was okayed.
But when you have his act there, guess what? He is bringing the entire act.
It is his act.
ACT people, ACT. He's going to bring the entire act. And then Jeff Long tried to act like, well, I'm just a back office functionary in the athletics department. I had no clue that he would do all this.
It's bizarre. It just seems like the vetting of character with guys that end up and coaches that end up around Jeff Long, it just does not seem like the character is there. And obviously the Kansas story is a funny one, but I think it sort of highlights issues that happen around Jeff Long.
I'm here to defend Snoop and castigate Jeff Long. Flag that on the tape. Flag that on a best of tape.
I will defend Snoop as well. Snoop, again, it is his act. That is what he does. You knew what came with it. Don't act surprised after the fact when stripper poles and fake smoking devices end up around you.
And Blunt Man.
The Jayhawk.
How about that guy? I thought it was rather comical. But the people to be blamed when everybody was running for the hills with it, it starts with Jeff Long. And you know how close Jeff Long came to hiring? And it was almost done. Les Miles leaving LSU to go to Arkansas when they ended up hiring Brett Bielema. It was really close to Jeff Long landing Les Miles then. He was close to leaving LSU.
Right. I cannot, now that we've brought up the Kansas situation, I just can't get the picture out of my mind of the families there with their 2 and 3 and 4 year old kids.
Dad, what are the cheerleaders doing?
Yes, as soon as Snoop brought out those
rock chalk. I mean, it kind of deviated a little bit from the very staid Kansas script, but this is just the beginning for LSU. And I hope they're not trying, and it feels like they may be. Everybody blame everything on Les Miles and Joe Oliva. Don't dare look at Ed Orgeron and what's going on currently. I think Ed Orgeron and LSU's program will be under a severe inspection and examination over these next few months. And every summer, not every summer, but a lot of times we have that big summertime ouster, whether they go on their own like Bob Stoops did at Oklahoma, or they go not on their own like Hugh Freeze did at Ole Miss. It's not unusual to have that in the summertime. I'm not predicting it, but it wouldn't shock me if by opening day Ed Orgeron's out with that allegation.
And a lot of times it's with a coach who did not live up to expectations the year before, and it just happens that way sometimes. But we'll see. LSU just seems to be continually in these problems, and Will Wade is probably at the center of all that at the moment, just given all the FBI investigations and everything else. They have so many wiretaps on him. But I wouldn't be surprised. I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Edo ends up in hot water. I don't necessarily expect it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
They will sacrifice everyone and everyone's reputation for it not to get to Ed Orgeron's football team for 2021. They'll throw Joe Oliva, you don't have a prayer because you're not there anymore to defend yourself. Previous staff, Les Miles and company, Will Wade, I hope you realize this. If it comes down to you have to go or Ed Orgeron has to go, Will Wade, you need to call the moving van. Because it's a football school.
Yeah, my man Will Wade. I still, it's just to this day to see the fact that he's still there and still going.
Hard to believe.
It really is. But at times, I mean, it's become almost easy to believe though. The more the years pass, because it continues to be a black mark on that entire school, and I don't know when the NCAA decides to step in. I think they have. I don't know if they have the IARP case yet referred to them, but I think eventually they're going to have to move on. They just haven't.
Gabe, I'm convinced that the IARP, they're hourly employees, don't you think?
They have a lot of cases stacked up. They have a lot of cases stacked up.
And they move slow.
Not all hourly employees move slow. I wouldn't say all that, but
you get to stay on the clock.
Yes. When are they going to make one decision? Much less all the decisions, one decision. Memphis was the first one referred to it, and we haven't heard one thing about it from the IARP.
You sure would think this summer will give some clarity for sure to the Tigers, kind of first in, first out. And I'm told by many close to that they're concerned, but they're not that worried with the fallout. That they feel okay. Yeah, they bucked the NCAA. They did with playing James Wiseman, but then ultimately he only played in 3 games. So so how mad should they get over that? I think they will wade and navigate their way through that pretty well. Tonight, Tigers in Tulane, almost a perfect opponent. We'll talk a lot. We'll go thoroughly inside this matchup at 5:30 with matchups and points from the game tonight. But almost a perfect opponent after this long delay, because we've seen teams come out of delays pretty well, like Michigan against really high-level competition, what Michigan came out of it against Wisconsin and Ohio State. And we saw the hangover effect for a little while last night for Baylor against a not very good team in Iowa State. But tonight against Tulane, 11.5-point favorite for a reason.
Right, and you wouldn't want to come out of the pause and be doing the experimental which team are you going to see with Houston or Wichita State or a team that you actually want to build a resume with. Obviously, I think getting on the court is the main thing against Tulane is fantastic given the circumstances. Like you said, 11-point favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if they cover, but at the same time, we're going to have to see in that first half which team is going to show up.
Yeah, Tiger schedule tonight, it'll be against Tulane, and then Sunday afternoon against Tulane. And you mentioned earlier the South Florida game, USF moving up a day to March 2. The last game of the year will be Houston on that Sunday at FedEx Forum, and they're trying to find somebody as a bridge in between.
Yeah, and I wonder, with that one day moved up, with moving that game up one day, how much does that actually free up? Does that give you a chance to play another game? And I know that's the thought there, but it's one day.
That's right. I mean,
not freeing up that much time.
I mean, coming off a road trip to Cincinnati on Sunday, you couldn't have done Monday.
Right. All right.
And it's just not a lot of calendar left before Selection Sunday. I mean, all these games. Well, you have to get them in before your conference tournament starts. I was going to say you have to get everything in before Sunday afternoon, the 14th. That's not accurate. You got to get everything in before your conference tournament starts. And in some smaller, mostly one-bid leagues, they start this weekend in full bore next week. And I love the one-bid league conference tournament because it's for everything. They know if they don't win that, they're not going.
So here in 2 days, the 26th was the day that the NCAA set or college basketball set if teams are going to play their conference tournament. You think just about everybody's going to end up playing their conference tournament and not just do the regular season winner gets the automatic qualifier? We going to see any cancellations?
Gabe, I don't think so, but in this last year, would anything shock you?
No, absolutely not. I think you would have heard something by now if it was going to happen.
What we've done to schedules and planning the last year, I mean, I got prepared to do a Texas A&M football game twice this year, and we hadn't played them yet.
Fluid, that's the word. Fluid.
It has been very fluid. I don't like that. I like the known, not the unknown. But we've had to adjust, haven't we?
No doubt.
I mean, you look at A&M yet another postponement. I wouldn't like if it were my team, but the league almost should back channel, go to A&M and go, it just hadn't worked out this year. We'll just make Nashville a 12-team event. Because Auburn can't go, so it was already down to 13. A&M, it just hadn't worked out. Let's make it a 12-team event. We'll see the Aggies come football season when Ross is saying there's going to be a full stadium and a full experience.
Yeah, we've seen it. In certain situations you have to cut it, and you have to make decisions that may not be in the best interest of one school, but they're the best interest of everybody, and that's may have to be what is done.
Best interest for dinner time includes Jason's Deli. They like to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and you get that at Jason's Deli. To dine in, to go, delivery, contactless, everything safe, everything secure. Locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. I know they are glad of the percentage increase for diners, and so glad to have people back in the restaurants, and they are ready to provide that great food and that great service to you. And we get back to our real life. We get back to our great food like the Mesa chicken salad, the chicken club salad, the nutty mix-up salad, the big chef salad, the taco salad, my favorite. Think about those things for dinner. Are all the great soups, all the great meats, the breads, the spreads, the cheeses. Those soups include the chili. I love it. Texas style, no beans, spicy seafood gumbo, the tomato basil, all the food so good and so good for you at Jason's Deli, where it's all about choice, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build your own selection. You will be delighted at Jason's Deli. Again, these locations, Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch and Cordova, almost 200 Memphis area associates with this Jason's Deli group. They appreciate you. They've been patient. You've been patient. They know that. And in all the restaurants at all the locations, still the complimentary free ice cream. Catering anytime, anywhere. The salad bar, over 30 items to choose from. They will prepare it for you. Used to, you do it yourself. All the items you want, now you just tell them how you want it, and they'll take care of it for you at Jason's Deli. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. Grizzly schedule out for the remaining portion of the year. We knew what it was going to be up through March the 4th. Now we know what it's going to be until the end, May 16th, and it's brutal. There are almost no days off. We talk that next. You're listening to Sports Time.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
It may be cold outside, but your deals keep getting hotter and hotter, Jeff. Hey, let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter with the Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah President's Day sales event.
We got you covered, Randy. Let's talk. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, redesigned inside and out, $149 a month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5, $182 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. Plus, every Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, sold M7755,638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, include all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax filing license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
The fun continues at Family Leisure with a brand new factory direct pool and patio sale. The new 2021 inventory is in. You got to get ready now and beat the rush. Become the first one to have your pool installed. They have spas in stock, and those are ready for installation right now, too. Complete your backyard with a new set of patio furniture, all state of the art. Special financing available. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The President's Day sales event is going strong at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2021 Kia Forte $133 a month lease. That's less than $5 a day for a new ride. 2021 Kia Soul, completely redesigned exterior and interior, $149 a month lease. And 2021 Kia K5, just $182 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter in your new Kia from Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee. Forte ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, Soul M7755 $638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF $695 excludes tax title and license. With approved credit, see dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Well, we knew with all the games that the Grizzlies had to miss due to COVID-19 that when they were going to make them up for the second half of the schedule or the latter portion of the schedule, it was going to be rapid-fire basketball. And, Gabe, just for the month of March when they get started back, they play the 10th, the 12th, the 14th, the 15th, the 17th, the 19th, the 20th, the 22nd, the 24th, the 26th, the 27th, the 29th, and the 31st. April's the same way.
It's insane. In April, you have a couple of road trips that you got to take. They have a 7-game road trip in the month of April, starting on the 16th, where they're going to have 2 back-to-backs. That's gonna be brutal too. And that road trip starts with 1 game at Chicago, which you better win, because the games after that, Milwaukee, Denver, the Clippers, 2 games at Portland, and then Denver, you end that road trip on the 26th of April. That one right there is going to be an absolute grind.
They would never admit it. They shouldn't. But privately, somebody's thinking, we want a 1-and-something road trip with it starting, like you said, with that game in Chicago, and I could watch Zach LaVine play every night.
Oh, absolutely. Zach LaVine, I mean, I'm glad he made his – is this his first All-Star? This is his first All-Star game,
It's got to
right?
be.
Yeah, first All-Star game. He's one of those guys, if he was in a contending situation, he would be one of the guys we're lifting up as an all-star starter. I mean, he's nearing a 50-40-90 year. Obviously 50% from the field, 40 from 3, and 90 from the free throw line, and it's under the radar. And weirdly enough, it's interesting that the Bulls are one of the least watched. You know, when you talk about the national scene as far as the franchise goes, because they're not good. I feel like if he was in a winning situation, he would be propped up a lot more than he is right now.
Well, he would be, and maybe they're trying to build with him because he's sure not in a small market, and he's sure not and he's sure not at a place that doesn't have that's not steeped in a lot of tradition. It's just now times marching on with it.
He's absolutely not in a small market, but I think that those fans are just fed up with how things are going, and I'm not sure that the fan support is where it once was. We know where it was before.
The Grizzlies finishing out will be tough before the break, back-to-back tomorrow night and Friday night at FedEx Forum against the Clippers Sunday afternoon, in Houston next Tuesday night in Washington, and then the last game before a break, a much-needed break for everyone with this compacted schedule and the limited off-season for even the Grizzlies, but for the playoff teams for sure, a lot more limited. They finish it off next Thursday night, a week from tomorrow night, against Milwaukee. And then starting on March 10th, it's just basketball just about every night until the conclusion on Sunday, May 16th at Golden State. And you'll just wonder if the Grizzlies will be around as one of the protected 1 through 6 seeds, or if they'll be in the NBA version of Dayton with the 7 through 10 games.
We shall see. We shall see. This second half schedule, though, is not giving a whole bunch of confidence for the Grizzlies to get a whole bunch of wins there in the second half of the season. Obviously, the one thing you want to see with the Grizzlies right now, and I heard Anthony say this earlier on mornings, don't take a bunch of stock game in, game out with this Grizzlies team. What you want to see is consistent effort, which unfortunately has not been the case lately. And that has to do with the front office sitting people. That has to do with where they are playing back-to-backs. But the one thing you want to see is consistent effort and to see guys get healthy. And
I'd like a little clarity from the front office
true.
On a lot of things, Gabe.
I
Mike Heisley, Chris Wallace, Lionel Hollins, they went out there and they told us about a 3-year plan, and they delivered on it. And they told us of it. They warned us of it. They braced us for it. We endured a lot in those first 2 years. That third year, when it finally paid off, got off to a rocky start, and it looked like, oh, no. But then it finished well with the 2011 playoff run, and we know what happened after that. It really cemented the Grizzlies as a member of the NBA and a viable franchise. I wish the front office would do that now. Quit kind of being a little bit tank, a little bit trying.
Yeah, and the other thing, and you talk about clarity on injuries. Because at first, the Justice Winslow thing was not fully explained. At first, too, with Jaren Jackson, it was just knee. And then you realize in the offseason he went through surgery on a meniscus. And now we know that, right? But the clarity beforehand is something that I think a lot of Grizzlies fans want to see and want to know, so there's realistic timetables out there for when you can see these guys back on the floor.
Well said. They don't have to tell us everything, but be straight with us.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about with your customer.
Right.
Because these doors are going to reopen someday. We're going to get through this limited fandom or no fandom in this last year of our life. We're going to get through this. And when we do, I think a lot of people will really examine just how honest they've been with them, and if they want to continue to invest their money in going to this.
And also, the sitting guys under the age of 30 on the second night of a back-to-back who haven't even played every game of the season is an interesting one to me.
25.
Yeah, well, Grayson Allen and the Kyle Anderson one the other night was a doozy for me. Kyle Anderson, of course, I get the shoulder surgery, I get I get injury management, but he's still young, and he's been playing well. He's a very key piece to what they've been doing on the floor. You got to keep him on the floor. And Grayson Allen, what are we talking about? What does he need to rest for? He's 25 years old, averaging 24 minutes a game. I think his body is resilient enough to deal with those minutes.
That's the very familiar voice of Gabe Kuhn. You can follow him on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. He's with me today. He's been with us all this week. Drew back next week. Dave back tomorrow. But up next, start the third and final hour on this Wednesday show, like we do every Wednesday during college basketball, brought to you by the Memphis Sports and Tourism Council. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. He's next.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do.
The President's Day sales event is going strong at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2021 Kia Forte $133 a month lease. That's less than $5 a day for a new ride. 2021 Kia Soul, completely redesigned exterior and interior, $149 a month lease. And 2021 Kia K5, just $182 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter in your new Kia from Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee. Forte ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, Soul M7755,638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license. With approved credit, see dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
When you think about Memphis-style hot wings, you better be thinking about Crumpy's Hot Wings, because they're made from the freshest ingredients and always deliver that mouth-watering taste that you expect from your hot wings. Now you can visit their new location at 420 South Germantown Parkway. You can also call them at 901-207-1273 and see for yourself why Crumpy's is simply the best. Ask for the Sports 56 special, which is 20 pieces of whole wings, large fries, and 4 drinks at just $38 for your family or group gatherings. Crumpy's Hot Wings, simply the best.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
College basketball in the home stretch, NBA schedule out, and one of the things I love about FanDuel and betting on basketball is always finding new player props or game props that I just love. And what's so much fun, so cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. It's called a same-game parlay bet, and you can only find them on FanDuel at the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Player point totals, rebounds, assists, money line, over-unders, point spreads, they have it all. And right now, new and existing users can get up to $25 back each day if your parlay falls one leg short with same-game parlay insurance. You heard that right, every day. Easy to use, easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet. And when you win, FanDuel, they pay your winnings out in as little as 24 hours. Easy to place your bet fast during a game if you see a trend developing that you like. So just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to try a same-game parlay and use promo code CASH at sign-up. That is promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News coming up after I tell you about DeSoto Auto Sales, the title sponsor of our show for this hour. They're at 5704 Goodman Road. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know and love at DeSoto Auto Sales. Go online, check out all the references, and look at the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutoSales.com. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they know we live in a world today that time matters, and that's why they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. Within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're gone in 45 minutes or less at DeSoto Auto Sales. They keep it that simple. 662-890-7184. Come on down to Goodman Road in DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience. Mike DeCourcy, the Hall of Fame college basketball writer from the Sporting News, he joins us every week at this time to talk college basketball. We are in the home stretch, and Mike, we're on the possible eve, the night of a big college basketball moment when Roy Williams can become the youngest coach to ever enter the 900 club tonight, and maybe with a little special touch to it with an add-on game against Marquette and being able to do it against one of his old nemesis as a player against Woj and Marquette tonight.
Yes. When I think of the Marquette Carolina rivalry, I can only think of Bill Ford versus Butch Lee in 1977. That's about as deep as it
in
gets.
Atlanta.
In the national championship game, exactly. And Butch Lee won that duel. That's 44 years ago.
But who's counting, Mike? but who's counting?
And so, and I don't know. I don't think Roy was on the staff yet then. I don't think he was. But obviously he was a very important part of North Carolina basketball during the decade of the 80s and has come back to win 3 national championships. And you look at his career, and it's really remarkable. And I went through I didn't look at every single win, but I went through his history of being a head coach through the 3+ decades, and settled on the 9 games out of the 900 that I thought were kind of the most consequential in bringing us to here, including the recent one against Duke, which maybe isn't as big as winning the Elite Eight or whatever, but it was the most significant recent win that he's gotten to get another W in the Duke rivalry. But 3 national championships there, and almost, they came within a few seconds of another possible one in 2016. He's done an amazing job. And, I know Roy reasonably well for someone who's covered him at a distance for the last 25, 30 years or so. And one of the things that I got a chance to talk to him about once was the decision whether to go back to North Carolina. And I think that's really one of the most misunderstood things about his career. When he was at Kansas, he was very happy there. He didn't want to leave, and there were two forces that brought him back. He was able to say no once, and I didn't think he framed it well when he basically made it seem like I'm not leaving Kirk Heinrich and Nick Collison, and then he leaves. Well, it means he left the guys he just got done recruiting, like Wayne Simeon and Keith Langford. So it was never a good thing to frame it that way. He should have just said, this is what's best for us, and I'm committed to Kansas. But when they eventually did leave, there were 2 factors. One was Dean Smith really made it seem important to the future of Carolina basketball, and it has been. And 2 was his son. His daughter had already settled in North Carolina, and his son had settled in North Carolina, was about to have a baby, I believe, at the time. And he felt he owed it to his wife to have the opportunity to be that close within 3 hours or so of their grandchild. And so those were the main factors in him going back. If he had stayed at Kansas, I'm pretty sure that by now, Allen Fieldhouse, that we all know, the greatest venue in college basketball, would be Allen Williams Fieldhouse. I mean, he was that huge there. But he walked away from that. It wasn't easy. And certainly he's walked into a great situation. But I don't know if his name's ever. I don't think it's ever going to be Smith Williams Arena. I don't think that he. One, I'm not sure they do it, and two, I know he would say no if they asked him.
And he certainly has a great chance tonight to go ahead and make history. But along the lines of him and that North Carolina team this year, probably not their best year. Looking historically, but it looks like right now you have them as a 10 seed in your bracketology. They end the year here with Marquette, Florida State, Syracuse, and Duke. Is there anything they can do to ruin those chances to get in the NCAA tournament?
Well, that's not an easy run of games that you just listed there. Florida State has been the best team in that league by far, and so that's a game that they could lose. The Duke game, Duke is now scrambling for a spot in the bracket. That game would be enormous for the Blue Devils, and it's obviously of great consequence to Carolina because, as you mentioned, if you're a 10 seed, you're in, but you're not solid in. You're not. I mean, I guess technically you could say that's on the bubble because you're not that many losses away from being out. But you'd have, if you're a 10 and you go 500 the rest of the way, you're probably making it. Mm-hmm. You'd have to go on a losing streak to get out, whereas a team that is in the first four now, they're a loss away from being out, and then they need to, they might need to win 2 to get back. So there is a significant difference. I think that if they can go 500 against the teams you just mentioned, and the Marquette one would be one that they should probably be able to get, and then they also have Syracuse, a challenge to play against, but not a great team, and then Duke is certainly in their weight class. If they're both maybe light middleweights or middleweights, they're both in that weight class, and Carolina has been the better fighter to this point. But Duke is, they're doing their job and trying to get back into it. So that game will be. We're not used to that being a bubble game, but when they meet on the final weekend of the regular season, it will be that kind of game, and maybe change the stakes to something even more consequential than we're accustomed to.
Mike, here we are the last week of February playing the games. It's a lot of add-on games like the aforementioned Marquette, North Carolina game. Other teams trying to add games on the fly, the American Athletic Conference Day, kind of juggling around the Tiger schedule some. I said on Monday that college basketball had the hardest path to get to completion of a season of any sport out there that we by and large talk about every day and cover and are very interested in every day because of the large number of games. It's incessant. It's every day. It's every night. It's every afternoon from November on. And Mike, I said out of 357 programs, 300 of those programs are financially strained, very budget conscious. It's very few college basketball programs that can waste money with it's not a waste, but the testing, the protocols, the separation, how they do the meals. Was I right or wrong in saying that college basketball had the toughest navigation?
No, you're 100% right, because the universe of Division I football teams is 120 teams, 128 I think is the number now. And the universe of Division I basketball programs is 357, as you mentioned. Now, a couple of programs opted out of that. An entire league, the Ivy League, opted out of that. So we were down to about 340 to 345 that were actually competing. And of those 340, most have gotten in a reasonable season. I think that even though UConn right now is certainly wishing they'd been able to play more games than they did because it's part of their challenge in getting into the NCAA tournament field. There's nowhere to hide the losses, so to speak. They've got some significant wins, but they're a little close to 500. And if they'd played 10 more games, they'd probably have won 7 of them, and they'd look more like a tournament team. But even at that, they've still played pretty much a season. And there have been very few Ionas that have been off way more than they've been on, and right now they're off again. So I think it's been very successful to this point. And, the the number one goal from here now is to get to the tournament with the 68 teams that earn their way in, 31 of them through automatic qualification, the other 37 through an at-large selection, to get those 68 into the door in Indianapolis without anybody having to be turned away and then replaced by who would ever be the 69th team. That's number one. And number two, then, is for everybody who gets into Indianapolis to leave only because they've lost a game or are taking a trophy along with them. I think that those two goals are very important right now. And I would say that, even more so, maybe the first is more important. Obviously, it's the one that's closest at hand, but it may be even more important to give everybody a shot to get in. And because I think if you get that done, if they're able to get everybody here with the negative tests and with all of the protocols they have to follow, I think once they get here, I think they can keep them here until they send them home with an L.
Right. Just so many moving parts to a college basketball season normally, much less with
in good times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Much less with the COVID-19 pandemic going on and how many postponements. And the one thing for bubble teams right now is if you had postponed games, are you going to be able to make up any? But last night there was two substantial ones I want to sort of bring up. Ole Miss beating Mizzou on the road, I love Ole Miss. I love Devontae Shuler, but that team wins so ugly when they win. They win, but they win ugly. And then Michigan State handling Illinois. Is the bubble getting about shoulder to shoulder at this point?
It is crowded, and that's not unusual. But what generally happens, because these are bubble teams, and bubble teams lose almost as often as they win, and eventually some segment of them loses more often than they win, and then makes it easier on the committee. And almost every year, when people complain, when I talk about how the college football playoff needs automatic qualification to be legitimate, and then if you want to have some at-large selections, et cetera, then fine. And I've always said an 18 field just to make it fair and inclusive, and also realistic, because I don't think that we're going to get 16 with automatic qualification for Conference USA and the Mountain West and American, et cetera. So, and what I always hear is, well, the 19th team will complain, just like the 69th team does. And I'm like, man, how often do you ever hear me complain about the 69th team? I have said that there is about once a decade that, especially in the expanded bracket, the 68, there's about once a decade at most that they leave out somebody that absolutely should have been there, and that would most recently would have been Monmouth, which got hosed. I think it was 2016. Really a bad decision, and that might have been the year they let in Tulsa, and Tulsa didn't even think Tulsa was getting in. But anyway, it doesn't come up that much. So if we get to the end of the year, now Ole Miss is going to say who they are, and I had them back in the hunt very much so a week ago, and then they go out and drop another game to Mississippi State, to the Bulldogs, and it's like, come on, you can't win that game. You're not a tournament team. So then I dropped them off my. Yeah, absolutely. And so I dropped them off the next 4 out list even. And then they come back last night and say, "Oh no, we're still alive." So they'll be back probably in the next 4 out. But if you're on that list, you're in it. And really it comes down to what you can do to say whether you should be in it or not. The committee doesn't make a lot of these decisions. The decisions are mostly made for them by the teams. That's why when I complain about bracketing in other years, they always say, well, it's more important to get the selections right because you can't play yourself. You can play yourself out of a bad seed, but you can't play yourself out of it if you're not in it. And my point is, man, the selection is the easiest part of this. Seeding and bracketing are hard. Selection is easy because the teams tell you if they want to be in or not.
Mike, tonight in Fayetteville at Bud Walton Arena, a place that you've been to a bunch, and we've been to right after it opened. It was in the 90s. There was no better venue in college basketball, and it's a back to the 90s thing tonight. Tonight, the first time 2 top 25 teams will be playing at Bud Walton Arena when number 6 Alabama visits Fayetteville to play number 20 Arkansas since 1998. I think it highlights the great hire by Hunter Yurachek, and it also, you dive into that, it highlights having a second and third plan. According to most reports, their number one choice for that job was Chris Beard. Well, he was going to the Final Four. He wasn't leaving Texas Tech to go to Arkansas. He nicely told him, most other times I probably would, but I can't now. Within Hunter, with his relationship with Kelvin Sampson, he was probably number 2. He said, thanks, no thanks, got a good deal for a lot of different reasons at Houston, so he stayed. Hunter Yurachek had a third and fourth down ballot choice and made it work in Eric Musselman.
Yeah, and the timing was great because Eric made his ability obvious with the great performance in 2018 in making the Sweet 16, coming back in the game against Texas, getting that W, coming back in the game against Cincinnati from a huge deficit, playing an entertaining style, all of which fit into what Arkansas wants to see itself as a basketball program. And it's worked out great. And honestly, losing the players that they lost off of last year's team and being able to be this team now, for a while, I was pretty skeptical, not of the program and where it was going, but of this team. Because remember, they played a pretty meager non-conference schedule, and that's not entirely their fault. I mean, you just got whoever you could get in this particular season. And then they started off in conference with a pretty difficult stretch to open, and they failed almost every one. Almost every one of their first big tests, they failed. And yet they still were piling up wins because they were really consistent against the lower teams, the lower-ranked teams of the SEC. They were real, and they didn't lose. They didn't take bad losses or lesser losses. And now they're getting a second run at the better teams, and now they're starting to beat them. They're starting to get those W's, and I think that now their position in my bracket is pretty solid. And gosh, I mean, I had them as a 6 this week, and if they can take down Alabama, that is enormous. And the other element of this that's worthy of mention is that they have played themselves, and Alabama has played themselves into what is college basketball's game of the night. And how often in the last 10 years has college basketball's game of the night been played in the SEC by someone not named, by 2 teams not named Kentucky?
Never. It had been.
There you go.
It just had been, and it's a shame because in normal times it would be 18,000, 19,000 there, and it would be thunderous because we've said in that building, Mike, when you could not converse with the person seated by you, it was so loud and so rocking.
One of the great games I've ever seen. I've actually been to Fayetteville for more football games than basketball games. I covered the Tigers back in the day in 94, 95, early February. They went to Bud Walton and played in one of the great games. Those 2 teams played 2 phenomenal games that year, and that one at Bud Walton was a great experience. I was really thrilled that I got the chance to do that.
But Mike, maybe you had already left, but I thought you were still here for when Sunday Adebayo played both for Memphis against Arkansas and for Arkansas against Memphis. Remember all that?
Yes. I think Sunday played 2 years with the Tigers, and I think he played he played the first year was my last full year on the beat, and then the second year would have been the year I covered the team for half the season or a little less, and then went to Cincinnati.
Mike DeCourcy, thank you for your time today. Love visiting with you, and we're in the home stretch of February. Some conference tournaments actually start Friday and into this weekend, and then full bore next week, and then here comes March Madness. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely, Stats. Always a pleasure. Thanks very much.
You got it. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News with us every Wednesday afternoon, brought to you by the Memphis Sports and Tourism Council, and we love having them on board with us to bring you Mike DeCourcy, the Hall of Fame college basketball writer from the Sporting News, and once upon a time here at the Commercial Appeal on the Tiger Beat. And he mentioned those two great games Arkansas and Memphis had in the 94-95 season, the rare non-conference game about this time of year. I'd have to look at the media guide to get the exact date. I'm going to say around February 15th or so, around this time in Fayetteville, really tick-tock, close game. And then the classic up in Kemper in the Sweet 16 on a Friday night at Kemper Arena, overtime game. Mingo Johnson had 32 for the Tigers. A very, very physical game that night, Gabe, and a ticky-tock foul on Chris Garner, hand-checking Corey Beck, Memphian Corey Beck for Arkansas. I mean, it was not a lot of contact. Me and you were hitting each other about as hard as Chris Garner hit him, sent him to the free throw line. Arkansas prevailed. And then the second game that night in Kansas City, Virginia with about 10 fans in Kemper, and the other 19,990 were KU fans, and they pulled the upset over Kansas. So then on Sunday, it was the cavalry arrived from Arkansas to buy up all the Kansas tickets, and Arkansas beat Virginia to go to Seattle to the Final Four. But the Memphis-Arkansas games in that stretch were classic.
I have a quick clarification. Was this a 94 hand check foul or a 2021 hand check foul?
It was it wasn't a lot of contact.
Right.
It was on the most nickel and dime, to use Bill Raftery term,
and
ever.
then in-game situation, one of those you just hold.
At the worst time.
Yeah.
And I had made, I'm going to say at some point that 94-95 season, the Tigers went up to Toronto and played and lost to a really good Georgetown team. I'm pretty sure Iverson was on it. And the next day, I don't know if it was a Monday or what day of the week it was, but the next day I said, this team's going to the Final Four. Lorenzen Wright was on that team and other big names, and just caught you-know-what for it. Homer, idiot. I mean, every pejorative you could think of. And I'm going, I'm not saying it for those reasons. I say it because I believe it. And had they escaped that Arkansas overtime loss, I think they would have defeated Virginia and gone to the Final Four. Okay, I wasn't right, but I don't think I was an idiot.
But you don't think you were wrong.
But I don't think I was wrong either. Some classic games, and we were talking last week, if you could schedule anyone, kind of within reason, if just a dream opponent for football, get Tennessee back on. For basketball, get the Arkansas thing and make it FedEx Forum and Bud Walton Arena. Love the good people in North Little Rock, but no, not the place for college basketball. Do it at FedEx Forum and do it in Northwest Arkansas at Bud Walton Arena. That's going to be fun tonight to watch that game, and it is the game of the night in college basketball. When we come back, we talk about the game of the night in Memphis, and it's at FedEx Forum. The Tigers, after the exaggerated wait, they're back at it tonight against Tulane, one of the more lopsided series in the history of college basketball. Let's hope it continues with Tigers in Tulane. We talk that next.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
It may be cold outside, but your deals keep getting hotter and hotter, Jeff. Hey, let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter with the Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah President's Day sales event.
We got you covered, Randy. Let's talk. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, redesigned inside and out, $149 a month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5, $182 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. Plus, every Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19038, MSRP $20,625, Soul, M7755,638, MSRP $20,660, K5, MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, include all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax filing license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
It's time, Memphis! Tune into Fox Sports Southeast and watch your next-gen Grizzlies Thursday, February 25th at 7 p.m. when they take on the Los Angeles Clippers, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Check out Grizzlies.com for more information.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
When I say lopsided, it has been historically lopsided against Tulane tonight for the Tigers as a heavy favorite. Want to keep it that way. Almost a perfect opponent coming out of this long stoppage of play. Not anybody's fault, not pointing any fingers at all. But darn you, East Carolina, you were very infectious. Well, I mean, as super spreader events go, East Carolina may be the leader in the clubhouse.
That was it's interesting to think back on that. It really is. It caused a whole load of problems for the Memphis program, and I wouldn't doubt if it was from that game. I mean, it was both teams had serious issues following that.
58-11 all time. The Tigers over Tulane. 33-3 at home. Oh. Why do the 3 losses at home stand out? That's how sports is, isn't it? I mean, you always go straight to the negative. Why do we do that? But the last Tulane win in Memphis was February 13th, 2016, and it caused the furor, as you can imagine, on these airwaves the next day, and it would do that tonight. I'm not worried about that tonight. Just worried about getting back into play tonight and picking up, frankly, where the Tigers – where I thought they were getting to before this break. I'm not trying to sound Pollyannish, but I do think they were playing their best basketball, had hit a pretty good groove. The defense has mostly been there all year, Gabe, but we know you got to score, and at times it's been painstaking on the offensive end.
Oh, no doubt. You finally had Landers Nolly coming along consistently on the offensive end. Boogie Ellis looked comfortable with that starting lineup. It looked like that lineup that he finally put out there after those sort of the few games with Jaden in the starting lineup, Jaden Hardaway in the starting lineup. It finally looked like he found that starting lineup with all the offensive talent there, and then bringing Alex Lomax off the bench was giving that spark. I expect to see the sort of same thing tonight. But make no mistake, when they traveled to Tulane, and I understand it's an away game, even though I'm not sure how much Tulane's home crowd is really going to affect the game, they did not play all that fantastically. It looked like Tulane stuck with them.
Sure did.
Tulane, Gabe Watson, who was coming off the bench at that time, Memphis is the reason that he is in their starting lineup now. He dropped 18 off the bench. So the Tigers, this is nothing to look past, especially coming off the pause.
There have been 3 times this year that I've texted a Tiger friend of mine that second half of the game, when it looked like it could go the wrong way, I've texted this would be the worst Tiger loss ever.
Right.
At one point, when it was 50-50 in the Central Arkansas game, and the Tigers pulled away and won easily that night, that Tulane game, and early in the one other time, maybe against SMU at home, I texted it would be a bad loss, not worst loss in program history, but Central Arkansas and at Tulane would have been. But it ended up being wins.
It had been catastrophic, and this game, they just have to come out, get into their sets, be comfortable, getting into the groove on the offensive end. I don't expect a bunch of shots to fall immediately, but I do expect defensive intensity and offense intensity to be high. That's the one thing you want to see. Coming out of a break, you want to see at least the hunger. Whether the shots are falling or not, you want to see the guys playing their hardest and playing to the best of their ability as well as they're playing that night.
If they make any shots, it just makes that pretty salty defense even more formidable because you can set your defense. It's not in transition. You can make a bucket and get ready, get on the other end and get low and get ready to guard somebody. It's really, really nasty when they can do that. And I'm not talking about making a lot of shots because at this point we've watched enough of this team that it's not going to be, a really prolific percentage shooting night from 2-point or 3-point land, but just make some shots, and then you can set the defense. There's still a lot of players that maybe can have their best contribution to the team. Yesterday, and I didn't quibble with him at all about it because Dave is getting it from the source. When he says the coaching staff thinks that DeAndre Williams, that he is the best player, that kind of is unnerving to me with this galaxy of stars in recruiting that they have signed, that a transfer from Evansville is your best player. Gabe, that tells me, if that's the case, it tells me then there was some misevaluation in the recruitment or some underdevelopment after you signed those 4- and 5-star players.
I wonder if there's being a mistake made in best player or a guy that brings most to the table. He's the oldest guy. He's a guy who brings some experience to the table. Maybe that's what they're referring to. But as far as a skill set, you sort of wonder. DeAndre Williams, while I think he's a good player on defense, he plays very, very hard. He turns the ball over quite a bit.
Fouls a lot.
He fouls quite a bit. And while some of his 3-point shots do go in, it's not the prettiest thing ever to see him shooting from outside. So I think talent-wise, I don't understand that thought process, but I think the whole package may be what they're talking about.
And for the Tigers tonight, we mentioned a couple times earlier, we referenced just how compacted the race, how congested, how many cars they have to pass and kind of fend off to maybe to even get into the shouting over it. Maybe one loss the rest of the way, and I don't know what that game's going to be in between South Florida and Houston. It might be a second game against Houston or a second game against Wichita State. We know how the first one went against Wichita State. Maybe one more regular season loss and maybe a AAC championship game loss, but I don't think they can afford many more losses, and they sure can't tonight, and they can't Sunday afternoon at Cincinnati.
I think the truth of the matter is they need that Houston game. I don't know if a loss at all the rest of this regular season is something that you can afford at all.
You're probably right.
You're talking about right now. And I understand the optimism because this is a team who was hitting their stride and looking like they could put themselves in a bubble situation, and then all of their games get postponed, and huge games at that. You had games, 2 games, Houston and Wichita State back-to-back going to their place would have been quad 1 wins at the time, and if you get those wins, of course, and you just didn't get to play them. But I don't think a loss serves them in any way, shape, or form. And tonight, Tulane 155 in the net. So, again, not much to get done tonight besides getting them back into the swing of things.
And for the Tigers, the net, they're 62, dropped one spot from yesterday. They go from 61 to 62. Kentucky, 2 spots behind the Memphis Tigers at 64. With that win last night, Ole Miss moves up 3 spots in the net from 62 to 59. Again, just, you got Stanford and Syracuse, Utah State. I mentioned all the different. Not only do you have to worry about the Tigers taking care of business, you got to keep an eye on the out-of-town scoreboard.
100%. And again, I've brought this up several times today. Last night did not do the Tigers any favors at all. Ole Miss, who has been just so up and down, put themselves right back into the bubble ahead of the Tigers, in my opinion, with a win on the road against a quad one opponent. And same with Michigan State at home. They took care of Illinois. So the bubble, and we just talked to Mike DeCourcy about it. It's getting very crowded. And I don't know if there's much room for the Tigers with what they have left on their schedule. Now, if they add a game against, say, a Wichita State or a second Houston game, then we're talking. Then we're talking about things that they can add to their resume. But right now, with what they have left in these 4 games, I don't see a huge, resume-building opportunity unless they go to the championship game, like you said, in the conference tournament.
Yeah, down in Fort Worth at the AAC tournament. Tonight in the AAC, Temple at South Florida, 4-10 Temple. Whew. There just hadn't been many games played this year, football, basketball for Temple. It's been a battle for them. 4-10 Temple against 8-8 South Florida. And Cincinnati, they're in Tulsa, 7-8 Cincinnati against 10-9 Tulsa. And Tulsa with those 2 wins over the Tigers. And I don't know which one stings the most. The one in December at FedEx Forum at home, or that 58-57 heartbreaker in Tulsa on January 17th.
Every single one of them stings, because it just seems like eventually that Penny and the Tigers would eventually get over the Frank Haith hill at some point, but it has just been tough sledding.
Who knew?
Every single time. And then it's also, you brought up Cincinnati playing tonight. What? I mean, their fall has been very quick. It has been
Mick Cronin was that
fall.
good.
He
and
was,
he's showing
absolutely.
it at UCLA.
Absolutely, but usually with a program like that has been so historically good for some years, you think some staying power would be there. It hasn't been that way, though.
This year, COVID will kind of insulate some movement, I think, in the AD coaching world. But Cincinnati, if they're at this point this time next year, they'll be making a change.
Absolutely,
because historically, much like the Tigers, they have been in the heart of Big Ten football country. It's been a tough battle for them. Well, they've gotten really good there. They don't want slippage in basketball.
Not at all. Not at all. It's something that's been sort of holding them up for a while. And I always, with Cincinnati and football, you have, and I know I'm switching to football really quickly. This is kind of a hard transition. But in football, it seems like a can't-miss situation there in Cincinnati. It seems like most of the time, any coach you bring in, it's fertile recruiting ground, and I think it's semi-similar for basketball. I think those programs sort of bring, whether it's bringing coaching talent just because of the fertile recruiting ground, or it's just they're hiring good coach after good coach. It seems like those programs are always in a position to be successful, at least.
One thing that hurts them in basketball, though, is right there in town, the very successful Xavier program.
Right. That is true. That is true. But
So
they've done a good job.
weak,
They've done a good job
They
over
have.
the years of keeping that recruiting
And that rivalry.
And
some punches thrown in that rivalry through the years.
They've done a good job over the years of keeping some of those guys from going to Xavier, and Xavier does the same thing. But they seem to not step on each other in the past.
I was looking at the scores. St. Bonaventure and Davidson, they started very early today. Right now it's 56-53 St. Bonnie with about 1:20 to play. Really need Davidson to win that. St. Bonaventure is right there in a lot of bubble talk. St. Joseph's over Dayton. St. Joseph's having a terrible year. I don't know if Dayton was really in bubble conversation, but that would completely preclude them from it. So I have to watch a lot of games in the SEC. It's not. I don't think there's that many tonight that would impact bubble. That was more last night, and mostly with Ole Miss and Mizzou. Tennessee could play its way, if they lost to Vandy, they could play its way into trouble. But I still think no matter what, the SEC will get 6. It's just a matter of who the sixth one will be.
Right. Whoever's at the top at the end of the season.
I don't think it'll go to 7, but I don't think it'll go down to 5 either.
Right, and it also with Ole Miss, I sort of wonder if they end the season on a very hot streak, which I'm not saying they will because they've been very up and down this year. Could you end up with a 7th as a possibility?
I don't. Now, tell me how far they go in Nashville at the tournament. Do they get to Sunday? Do they get to the finals? I think that conversation has to be had.
Yes, true. Yes. And there's again,
we talk about the Tigers are in that.
Right, college
get
basketball.
To Sunday.
The amount of moving parts that have happened we've had to deal with this year. Even in a normal year, it's tough, but this year it definitely has been a lot more tough to get a grasp of what it's going to look like come tournament time.
And I sure don't know this empirically. I think it's mostly just anecdotal, but I think for teams like the Tigers, maybe for Ole Miss, you get to Sunday and you're in front of that committee. They have their TV set up in their committee room, and they're coming in and out for meetings, and they see you playing, and it's in their mind, well, they're still playing today.
Right.
They're doing – now, I'm not saying that they're that shallow either, but just human nature having that in front of you instead of, hey, when was Ole Miss eliminated in Nashville? Oh, Thursday. Oh, to heck with that. When was Memphis eliminated in the AAC? Friday afternoon. What the heck with them?
Yeah, to see Devontae Shuler on your screen, to see Lester Quinones, to see Landers Nolly on your screen, certainly. And again, I agree, they're not that shallow, but to see you on that championship Sunday gives them a little more comfort putting you into the NCAA tournament.
Don't give college administrators too much credit. Some of them are that shallow. Hey, everybody, the new 2021 Silverados there at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. All the new hot trucks. You want a new Silverado? All-Star, they have the Silverados. New 2020s, new 2021s. 0 for 72 months available right now. You got to know if it's the Chevy you want, they have it at Olive Branch. That's where you need to be. New 2021 Blazers, third row Traverse, Equinox. Talk about the deals. Go to All-Star Auto Group.com and look at the slightly driven demos, previous loaners, All-Star. They have them with dozens of certified pre-owned Chevys, Silverados, Tahoes, Impalas, and everyone at All-Star. One job. Make sure you get the best deal, have a bunch of fun, and do it in record time. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Collierville, it's not South Haven, it's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch, where they're open until 7:30 tonight or until the last person has been dealt with the salespeople and driving off in their new vehicle from All-Star Chevrolet on Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go online to allstarautogroup.com. Tell Drew, tell Scott, tell the crew at All-Star we said hello, and thank you so much for being with us, All-Star Chevrolet. When we come back, we wrap up this Wednesday afternoon with Taco Bell Crunch Time. That's next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
All 75 months at 3.04%. Mirage MH 002682. MSRP 16865. G4 MHF 01572. MSRP 18360. Outlander Sport MU 004915. MSRP 24740. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Ready, set, start your new year with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on Covington Pike. Get the hatchback hero in 2021 Mirage, $12,342 or $129 a month. 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, $13,997 or $149 a month. And jumpstart your journey in 2021 Outlander Sport, $17,938 or $199 a month. And these are not leases. You own your new ride. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
The Winter Collection Sale now until March at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Your one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. This great Winter Collection Sales event has super special financing offers featuring the flagship LS500 and Lexus named the #1 certified pre-owned program in the industry for the 4th straight year by U.S. News and World Report. The Winter Collection Sale now until March at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
All 1, odd 2, odd 3. Hey.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
What a story here with Zach LaVine. We were talking about this before this tweet from ESPN Stats and Info. Wow, this is what I've learned. He's even better than we thought, Gabe.
Right.
Currently averaging 28.6 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, 5.1 assists per game. The only Bulls player to average 25, 5, and 5 in a full season since, that guy. You know who he is. He's a lot better than we were talking earlier about him being a star. That's a superstar in the making. Also learned this today. Here comes the Brooklyn Nets, and that's without Kevin Durant. 6 triple-doubles in 19 games already for James Harden. Double-digit assists in 16 out of the 19 games that he's played. They've won 7 straight. It's finals or bust for the Brooklyn Nets. What'd you learn today?
100%. I learned today, and this is just very recently, Devin Booker has replaced Anthony Davis on the All-Star team as a reserve. It's something we sort of saw coming. He's averaged 24, nearly 25 points a game, 4 assists a game, 3 rebounds. He's a guy who LeBron was vouching for yesterday very, very loudly. A lot of people, Jared Dudley was out there vouching for him. He's a guy that needed to get into a All-Star game, and he's going to get that chance only at 24 years of age. I thought he's done a fantastic job. Chris Paul has been revolutionary there for the Suns.
He has been.
Also, I learned
that was a great acquisition.
Absolutely, 100%. He's and some people have their thoughts about Chris Paul. Think he's overrated. Think he's not as a full winning player. He's a winning player. He's absolutely a winning player. Any team he is on becomes better. I also learned today that Big Ben will be back in Pittsburgh. The Steelers needed
39.
him. They had no other choices. I was always wondering what the conversations were about because his cap hit's huge. They don't have any other decisions to make, or nobody else that they could turn to. It seemed like it was the obvious choice, and the obvious choice has been confirmed today that he will be back with the Steelers.
Yeah, and it could end really ugly for him next year. It ended poorly for Terry Bradshaw in Pittsburgh with similar type injuries, elbow and shoulder injuries. It could end for him. I'm with you on Chris Paul. He's walking straight into the Hall of Fame. He is a great player, but he is not a champion. And sometimes his own idiosyncrasies has really held him back. The shabby way he and the Clippers acted in the 2013 playoffs in Memphis, I will never forgive him for it, and especially Lowbridge and people way down yonder. You don't do that. You don't play that play. Could have done without. It was very nice of John Harbaugh to pick up the tab for an entire restaurant in Baltimore at a seafood restaurant. Now, how does brother Jim pay it forward at Michigan? Because no spring trip to Paris this year for him. No wins over Ohio State. He's done very little. He's overpromised and under-delivered. When does he pay it forward in Ann Arbor?
Steaks and milk for everybody. That's what we're looking for with Jim Harbaugh. What I learned today, or what I could have done without today, is Alex Smith spoke on the Washington football team and how he was treated last year, and it honestly broke my heart. He said that they didn't want him there. He said that everything he'd been through, he couldn't have cared less about all that, and whether they liked it or not, he was going to be playing. And he explained it as throwing a wrench in their plans, him coming back from injury, and that just hurt me. A guy that worked so hard, that had multiple surgeries on his leg.
Almost died
from a leg injury, coming back and saying that he felt like a burden on the team he was coming back for. I could have done without that today.
What do you keep an eye on tonight?
I am keeping an eye on the Tigers. How are they going to come out? That's the real question. A good opponent.
Make shots.
They're going to be playing against to come out of this postponement with. Just keeping an eye on that. And also the MLGW water situation looks like it is stable. MLGW has mentioned that. So I'll be keeping an eye on that as well.
How's your water pressure? Have you had full flowing good showers?
Oh, I've had fantastic. It has actually been good for me the entire time.
Well, that's good. Very good. I'll keep a close eye on the Tigers in Tulane at FedEx Forum. Glad they're playing. So glad they're playing. Boy, I never did, but we should never take these games for granted again once we get past this pandemic, if and when we ever do. We will. Good one in the SEC great one in the SEC tonight at Bud Walton Arena. Bama ranked 6th, Arkansas ranked 20th. North Carolina, they can't afford a slip-up tonight as they go for Old Roy's number 900 tonight. 9-game slate in the NBA. With no postponements right now, so far no postponements. Lakers at Utah on ESPN. That should be a real good one. That could be a Western Conference preview. 47 combined wins in that game tonight. Gabe Kuhn, great job. Love you being with us. Can't wait for Drew to get back next week, but great pinch hitting job for you. You've been wonderful to be with. They want to thank TJ Reeves, Tom Ackerman, Mike DeCourcy. For Gabe, for Dave, I'm Brett. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.